What's up, y'all? We are live in effect. I didn't even. Oh well, I don't even think I need to do a sound check today because it just. So okay, all right, we ready to go. We ready to go. I'd like to thank everybody for. Hold on, wait a second. Still got a dot a I and cross a T. Okay, now we ready to go. Now we ready to go. I had some background noise. I had the YouTube feed playing like people do when they call into the show and don't know how to turn the YouTube off. But either way it go, right now we are ready to go. I'd like to thank everybody who came on in thus far. Make sure you hit the like button on the way in. And y'all see the title, y'all see the thumbnail. There was a comment from one of my previous videos. I was going to do a reaction video to it regardless. I was going to do a reaction to that comment regardless, but I invited the person who made the comment up, and she agreed to come up. So we about to have that conversation in real time. So without further ado, let's get ready to go. Let's get it.
Peace, folks. This is X from TPOT Media. Open your mind and wake your black ass up. You know what time it is. Hit that damn like button as you make your way in the door. Grab a seat, settle in, get ready. It's the Grown Man Hour with your host, my man, Bernard Riley.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Mumia Obsidian Ali. You know who I am. I need no introduction, right? And you're listening to the Grown Man Hour with my man Bernard Riley, heard weekdays right here on YouTube. What do you think about that? How about that? Now let's get back on with the show. Thank you.
What's up, good people? What's up, good people? Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. Let's get ready to go. Let's get this thing started. Let's get it. Shout out to the early bird squads, those that make it in bright and early before we even get things started. Shout out to the Mac the Trucker, says Bernard, you're sparking the gender war. I'm all about the gender war. It ain't over. I ain't letting it die. I'm just playing. Shout out to Ride of God podcast, says it's gonna be lit. Shout out to Mr. Rack W MR MRAKW. That's too many consonants and not enough vowels. I don't know what to do with that. I don't know if that MR stands for Mr. I don't know what's going on with that name, but shout out to you. Appreciate you coming here. Says he better have a whip and a chair for this one. No, we're not. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. D-Rock Den in the building says, good morning, BR, uneducated lame. Once again, he said, got my lead pipe per Obsidian. We about to get it like Anchorman. Channel fight up in here. No, we not. No, we not. Shout out to RM. Shout out to TBE Truck. And shout out to the Perfect Storm in the building. Says a little something for the collection plate. Excalibur in the building. Appreciate the $5 super chat. I didn't want to skate right by a contributor this early, but thank you very much for that. I do appreciate it. Excalibur Ange A says, hope this will be a respectful conversation. Yeah, it will. It will. Sorry, I'm going to miss most of it. Gotta work, gotta pay them bills. That's because you ain't got no man. I'm just playing. I'm just playing. F Holiday in the building says, any of y'all got a toothpick? I got a kernel wedge between my teeth. That ain't none of our business. But all right, Hoop Jargon Queen Q. I see y'all down there. See y'all. Shout out to everybody who made it in. We got 50 people in the building. Make sure y'all hit the like button. But like I was saying in the pre-intro ramble, this conversation here is sparked from a comment that was left. I used to do this all the time when my channel was smaller and I was kind of, struggle streaming for content. Whenever I would get a comment, I would just take that comment and copy and paste it and use that comment to just make content out of. And every blue moon, when I would invite the person up who made the comment, every new blue moon they would come. So I figured I'd try that, and she actually agreed to come up. So I'm going to bring her up pretty soon. I just want to properly set things up so y'all can know exactly what we are talking about here. Her comment was in response to this video right here. Her comment was in response to this video right here, where I'm going to play something that a young lady said. And apparently this young lady be making the rounds all over the internet. She be on TikTok. I don't know who the hell she is, but she be on TikTok. And this ain't the first time somebody sent me something from her. But anyway, I'm going to play a brief clip of that. And I'm going to read the comment that was made by the person that I'm going to be talking to. I'm bad with names. Her name's, I think, Francesca. I'm so bad with names. I'm horrible. But but anyway, I'm about to play the clip, and then I'm going to read her response. But let's go. So let's go ahead and hop right into it.
Are we telling men that the reason we want them to provide for us fully, even though we work and don't plan on quitting our jobs, do are we telling them that we want them to provide for us so that we can spend their money the way we want to, and then spend our money however we want to? Because ultimately, it's so we can have some sense of control in the relationship, right? Which also includes us putting money to the side just in case the relationship don't work out. Like, are we telling that? Because I didn't know. That's how I just figured I'd ask because I didn't know whether or not we were really saying that or if that was just our secret.
Now, to more or less sum up my general response to that, I basically was in agreement with her that, yeah, there's definitely the potential of that happening if you're being a traditional modern man to a woman. I mean, if you're being a traditional man to a woman who's not exactly a traditional woman, she's still working and she's doing her thing. She's having it both ways. She got you paying 100% of everything, but she's keeping her money, sort of like the whole philosophy of, your money is our money, her money is her money. What what happens from time to time. So I just did a breakdown of that, and this was the response from Francesca. She says, stop spreading this nonsense. Now, I talked to her in the back. She was real nice in the back, but this just sounds so mean the way she's just coming through on this comment. But stop spreading this nonsense. Or maybe she didn't say it like that. Maybe she was polite. Stop spreading this nonsense. I don't know. But anyway, stop spreading this nonsense. Nobody is hustling black men for their money. The only ones that do that is their preferences, and y'all let them. All I see are young black athletes and white women. I mean, all I see is young black athletes with white women. What do you think they're after? This only seems to be a problem in the black culture. Some of y'all use any excuse not to provide for the women and children in the community, and it shows. We want black men to take responsibility for the families they create. We want black men to be in the home of those families and provide the same way a non-black a non-black man would. Nobody is using or dating black men for their money. Nobody is trying to use y'all to level up and leave you for the next. That's what y'all do. It's in most women's nature to settle down and nest. For the most part, y'all don't even make enough to support a single family on your own. So we have to work. So while we're paying half of the bills, we're responsible for 100% of the housework and childcare, and it's not fair. Let us rest in our femininity so we can be the mother and wives y'all want. Stand up for us, protect us, provide and help build communities and resources for our future children. Y'all want to be treated like men, but complain about what men have to do. And FYI, Black women has been taking care of households on their own for so long, it's become the norm to not be able to depend on Black men. And that's why we angry. Oh, okay. So that's why we're angry. It's like we're always being told we're not good enough, not worth it when other races of women get the world out of y'all. Yet you just said we didn't have the world to give. Anyway, I'm not doing my rebuttal yet. Okay, everything we ask y'all to do is a rebuttal. If y'all if I want a man who is financially savvy, y'all say I'm a gold digger. Is no winning with Black men. You don't see any other race of men getting up on YouTube with the problem because they understand how a household works. The reality is most of us were born in a single parent household, so we don't even know the proper gender roles. All right. That was yeah, I had to read all that. All right. I see her down there laughing at her own words. Cut it out. Cut it out. Stand in it. But all right, okay. So now I'm about to bring her on up. While I was reading that, and cut it, cut it out. But all right. So now I'm about to bring her on up, and let's get this thing started. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. How you doing?
Good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm doing wonderful despite all the hurtful things you said.
Mm,
I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
of
But
course.
no, but let's dig right into it.
Yeah.
First I guess first some background. Well, I normally don't even like to do the background. I mean, I do that when I talk to Black men. I really don't care about your whole Marvel origin story, but just a little bit. Just what's your take on just in general? What brought you to, I guess, Black YouTube, getting involved in these kind of conversations, dropping comments, or is that something that you do regularly, or just every now and then, or what? What's the deal?
Well, essentially, ever since I started following Kevin Samuels, every everybody else is coming up. So I just started following other videos, and I stumbled across yours. I thought it was interesting
Oh
topic,
shit.
and I completely disagreed with it. But I've just normally lately started commenting on videos. I normally don't, but was
Hmm.
I've been following a lot of this conversation between Black women and Black men, and um, a lot of it I can agree with, and a lot of it I can't. And I just feel like content like that in your video is one of the reasons why we can't. It's misleading.
Okay, so you saying some of it you can agree with it, some of it you can't, but you said content like the content in my video is misleading.
Yes.
What was misleading? Well, no, I'm not even going to go that route. And I just ask you a general question. What was misleading about it? We're gonna take the article. We're gonna take what you wrote right from the top.
Yeah.
We're gonna take what you wrote right from the top. We're gonna go line by line with it. That's probably the best way to do this. Now it's small and y'all can't see it. It's small and y'all can't see it, so y'all probably just have to take. Oh, where did it go? Hold up. Hold up. All right. Yeah, y'all more or less just going to take my word that I'm reading it correctly. But you said, stop spreading this nonsense. Nobody is hustling Black men for their money. Now, my general point wasn't that there's people out there hustling Black men for their money. However, if we're going to go that route, you can't deny that there's um I'll even reach across the aisle and call it a subculture of women black women who was on some get the bag, finesse a dude, get the money, get the, they like we can't pretend like that world don't exist. And we can't pretend like those women are not dealing with, I mean, most black women are dealing with black men. I mean, you said something in your whole comment that alluded to that, that black women mostly only deal with black men, because you're talking about what other races of men would do if y'all dealt with them. So the implication was already there that y'all mess with black men. So if black women typically only mess with black men, and there's also this whole get money off a dude, get the bag, get what you can, blah 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 blah. It's like we can't pretend like that culture don't exist in movies, music, and just popular culture. So who, if there's a finesse culture that exists, who are these women who only deal with black men? Who are they finessing? It's a real simple answer.
Black men. So I guess my comment was in response to if they were married. Why would you be married to a woman with that mindset? If you're a good man, wouldn't you attract a woman or have a woman that doesn't believe in that? I understand where that mindset comes from, though. A lot of us were told that I feel like a lot of us feel like we can't depend on men. So we have to go out there with that mindset. We got to be a boss. We got to, make more money because we know that we can't depend on you guys. So I think that's where that
depend. Okay, so if you admit that exists, but then you say nobody is hustling black men for their money, even though that wasn't even my point in the video, but it's almost, but you do see how you're starting out with a contradiction. You're saying that culture exists, and you also acknowledge that these women mostly deal with black men, but then you say that there's nobody out there hustling black men. That black men have nothing to have, no reason to have their guard up for anything.
Oh, absolutely. Everybody should have their guard up, but
black men compared. And you said something about marriage, and this video wasn't exactly even talking about marriage.
So why would you be providing financially in a relationship if you're not married to that person?
No, that's a fair question, but we in modern times, people live together and they don't be married, and we can't pretend like even in those situations when people are living together and not married, the women are not still also in some cases saying that, hey, you the man, you're supposed to provide, and a lot of men are saying, yeah, I'm the man, I'm supposed to provide. Mm-hmm. And so he's providing, but she's still in her own way a modern woman because she's still working and she's making her money, but his money is the house's money and her money is her money. Like, that's something that does exist. I'm not saying it's 100% across the board, but the video was just pointing out that that's something that does exist, and I concur that it exists because I've literally seen it. I've literally know plenty of situations where a woman is with a man and she's working less hours and going to school. He's working full time and paying for mostly everything. She's going to school. She's leveling up in that situation. She come up, she get a job, she get a degree, and now she making more money. And I was like, oh, I don't need this dude no more. Like, that happens.
I'm not saying that it doesn't happen. My argument that black men compared to other men, I would say they make less. So if I'm a woman and my mindset is going to get the bag, why would I go to a black man? I'm going to go to the men that make some of the most money. And sadly,
real quick. Mm-hmm. If we're talking about the average white man makes about, I think, $850 per month more. Average black man make more than the average Hispanic man. So if you're going to try to
more, because even and I hate to kind of bring this, but even when women who prostitute, they more so want to go with white men than black men because they know the white men will pay more. So if I'm going to be a gold digger or one of those women that's going to be a boss and take you for your money, I'm going to go after a demographic that has money. And black men,
you're gonna because most of the men in that demographic don't got money. Average white man make $50K. So what you're going to do?
Those average white men. The average white man compared to those average black men, they will spend money more on a black woman than an average black man would because he has.
How do you know this?
I've watched
the only thing you reference is women that sell pussy. That's what you
but that's kind of, if we're not talking about getting married now, if we're not talking about being in a married situation, that's the only time I can really justify a man paying majority of the bills. So if I'm a woman and I'm going out there and I'm targeting
Okay.
a demographic of men, why would I target a demographic of
I
men who don't talk to me? Talk. What's going on?
you no, it's
Talk to me.
you move the goalpost
Okay.
to as if this whole conversation is predicated on black men specifically being targeted for their money. That wasn't my general point.
You said men
The
in
general
general.
men, yeah, men in general, that yes, there's a legitimate problem because there's a lot of men who still have the whole traditional way of thinking, but they're being traditional with modern women. I don't mind a man being traditional and doing the traditional male role. It's all the matter is that woman truly on the traditional female role. If they do that, it's a perfect lock and key. Everything, everything match, everything line up. I'm good with that. I'm good with that. But when you're talking about, so I don't know why you spent it around and tried to flip it all the way to. I'm talking about men being targeted for money. If a woman wants to target somebody for money, she has to target a man that has money. It it,
Okay,
it,
so
it
do
makes
black men have more money compared to other groups of men?
that's an irrelevant
It is
question.
a relevant question. If
No,
I'm going to
no,
be,
no. That's not the question. The question
can
is
you answer the
you
question?
on I already answered it. I said
So do
on
black
average.
men
I said
have
hold on,
more
wait, stop,
money
stop,
compared
stop.
to other?
I
You
said
said
I,
you
I
said white
said
men had
stop. Hold on,
$150
stop
more.
it, stop it, stop it. I said no, I said $850 per month more. That adds up to about white men make about 50,000 a year, black men make about 40,000 a year, Hispanic and Latino men make less than black men per year. So if my argument, which it wasn't, was that black men are being targeted by women, just the women trying to finesse them, then I understand where you're going, but you're taking it somewhere where I wasn't even nowhere near there. That wasn't nowhere near the point that was made in the video. That was nowhere near the point in my response. So you took the goal posting, you put it on the moon. But either way it go, if you're talking about women going out and finessing men, and they make the calculation that hey, I'm going to go out and finesse white men, then you're not gonna get no argument from me on that. So we going down an unnecessary rabbit hole. I mean that's an unnecessary rabbit hole. I'm not trying to argue them out of that position. That's so we can stop that one right there. But if just a simple general point, if you agree that there's a finesse culture that exists, and you agree that most of black women deal with black men, then those that are finessing, then there's a percentage of black men that are being finessed, and we could just set that aside. But so you're basically trying to come up with a a whole business strategy in where their target demographic should be. I don't
Well,
care.
I'm saying that if the whole population, if I were going to be in, if I was going to do that, I would go after men with money. I didn't know
Exactly.
when men use the term modern women, I will say that I assume they mean black women. I seen a black woman in the video. You are black yourself. I thought that this was a debate between whether or not black men should provide a marriage. I did not know this was talking about a relationship where you guys are just
Well,
living together, which I don't agree with. Um,
okay. All right, fair enough, fair enough. I mean, it is important to make sure we positioned everything just right. When we talking about modern women, that's obviously, I mean, it's a universal term. It could apply to any woman with modern feminist ideals. You know, we that's generally what that is.
I I agree.
All right. So let's move forward, and the conversations, go from talking about relationships, people living together, marriages, the whole works. But let's move forward to what else you put out there in the response. 291 people in here. Make sure yeah, hit the like button. And again, y'all gonna have to trust, y'all just gonna have to take my word when I read this. Yeah, I'm going to take my word when I read it. She says, let's see. The only ones that do that is their preferences, and y'all let them. And that goes back to another comment that you said earlier at the bottom of the message. You were basically saying when it comes to our preferences or white women, y'all give them the world, but you just argued that y'all ain't got nothing to give. So how are somehow we giving the world to something else? It's almost so that comes from a place of insecurity. Even though the majority of black men are with black women, you're assuming that when they get with a white woman, that all of a sudden she getting some amazing treatment. Now we can break down the differences in how black women act versus how other women act, and sometimes how women act does affect the treatment. But in general, that sounds like that just coming from a place of insecurity. But go ahead.
It does sounds conflicting. So what I meant to say, when black men get to a certain level of status, they date white women and they don't argue, they don't mind giving
How do you know that
things. And this is what you see on media. I mean, look at Kanye West, look at just other when black men,
that man look miserable. That man looks miserable.
Well, look at all the black men she's been with that look miserable. But this is what they do. They'll get to a certain level. I mean, look at the celebrities that they all have biracial or no, most of them do. Most of them have. I would argue that most of the people that I see in social media have, or athletes, or even growing up, I noticed that most of them have non-white biracial women. And when they get to that point, they don't mind spending money. But when it comes
you're saying men that get to the point where they have a lot of money, they don't mind spending a lot of money that they got?
They don't mind spending money on the woman that they want, their preference. I think.
So are you saying that rich black men that deal with black women are not spending money on them? Are you
No, that's not my argument. But most of the times when they get to that level of success, they want to deal. I almost feel like they kind of live in a space where they want to be closer to the white image, and so they start to date women who reciprocate that image. White women, non.
All right, there's no exact data on how many professional athletes.
What do you see?
There's no exact data on the percentage of professional athletes that are with non-black women. However, there is data on black men when they reach like the upper class, start making, over six figures. It's still across the board. 85% of them are married to black women. Now, I don't know where that number goes once you start talking about, excuse me. So once you start talking about men who make millions of dollars, I don't know. I don't know exactly.
I see a pattern.
I know, but you've already demonstrated all through the comment that I read and what you're saying right now. You demonstrated that you got confirmation bias real bad. So just going off what you see,
that's fair.
That don't exactly show or prove anything.
So
again, no. What I'm saying is it just comes from a place of insecurity. Like, you're not in a house with these people. You're saying, oh, they just do everything for them, or they don't care what. They don't care what these women do, or they let these women do this, or they just give them the world. And
I'm not saying
I see. Hold on, wait, time out. I see a lot of rappers and entertainers on yacht parties with a bunch of non-black or racially ambiguous women. Those women getting nutted on and sit home, and they getting rolled hard and sit home wet.
And that's my other argument. Men will go after these women, saying that black women are loud and ghetto, but they go after those women that mimic these same cultures and these same behaviors. No, they do. And then and they treat these women the same. And so I'm saying that because a lot of black men will say, oh, well, if you have a bad experience with a man, it's because you chose that person. And to a certain extent, I agree with that. But if every type of woman is having the same problem with a black man, isn't the denominator the black man? What could you say that he's
what do you mean by that? What do you mean by every woman is having the same problem with a black man? Hold on, wait, real quick. Hold on, time out, stop. Because we started out again. I hate when the conversation leaps all the way to celebrities and everything, but you started it there. You started out by saying they rolled, and this is where you're contradicting. You started out saying they roll the red carpet out for these women. They treat these women so good. They give them the world, the sun, the moons, the stars. But then you in the next breath say, oh, but they're treating these women bad, and they're doing this and they're doing that. It's almost like you don't even know. You don't even know where you want to land it. That's
Okay.
why I just say
It's a little
it
bit of
has to be.
everything. It's a
It
little
ha-
bit. So in the
right.
beginning,
Hold on, but
black
that's
men,
wait a
even the
minute. Wait a
average.
minute. Wait a minute. When you say it's a little bit of everything, I think it almost could stop there. That's life. There are some black
So
men that get with that. Hold on. There's some black men that get with black women and they treat them good because that dude is just a decent dude. Some black men get with non-black women and treat them good because that dude is just a decent dude. Then there's some men who just a piece of shit and they just treat women any old type of way, regardless of the race. So that's across the board. So you can't make that point and then still also say, but y'all treat y'all preferences this way. But when you acknowledge in the same breath that across the board all these actions are happening, and the common denominator is just how that particular man is set up and how he operates, and not just the simple fact that he's with a woman of a certain shade. But we will get into the differences in how different women behave and conduct themselves. Shout out to Theo. Be nice, Theo. Be nice. He says it's because these ABWs are dating Pookies. I ain't even trying to go there. I left the Pookie and Ray Ray stuff aside. That's done over here with me. But high value black men are avoiding them. That's why she is so clueless. There are we was gonna get there, Theo. We was gonna get there, Theo. And the mere fact that I guess we got to go there because Theo super chatted it. The mere fact that you're reaching to celebrity situations, like, does it to some degree imply that yes, you know that these type of men exist? You know, there's men that make good money, maybe not millionaire celebrity money, but you know that it's men that make good, solid money. And if a woman is solid, they do right by her, or is it just a simple factor of you may not have access to these men, so you're looking at women who you think have some special access to them, and you're just assuming that they're treating these women so much better, when the reality is the majority of black men are with black women. Like, so what's
so
your general point?
to answer your question, yes, at first I did felt like that. It was insecurity. I felt like, why did I feel like I couldn't be with these men, or these men chose women that didn't look like me? And I can understand the confusion when you say that I'm contradicting myself by saying that one, you're saying that black men don't have any money, but then you saying that when that they're giving that their preferences the world. What I meant by that, even with average black men, um they would treat average black woman one way, I feel like, and then they would treat maybe their preference a whole nother way. I think they would
How do
treat
you know this?
from
Are you in
experiences
there?
from, and this is why I say this is how I
Why?
kind of
Because you
learned
saw
that.
you saw them walking through the mall
No,
and they
like
looked
getting
happy.
up on YouTube or TikTok, just hearing what other women's experience, or
TikTok.
hearing my friends. Like, everyone has different experiences with men, so I don't feel like it's just black women that have experience with men. That's why it's not, I don't feel like I'm choosing the wrong man, or everyone's choosing wrong man. I think there is a problem in our community with the black men and how they're raised, and how they're raised to treat women.
Uh, Raised to treat women by who?
By black women. And that's that's another thing. I feel like we can kind of get into that, how the whole psychology of how black women and black men are raised, and how I feel like that manifests over time to sort of like a hatred, or maybe a self-hate toward black women. That's how I felt in the beginning. So I wouldn't say, I will admit that I'm a
Hold
little
on, back
biased.
up, back up, back up. You said who has a self hatred?
I would say black men, because some of the comments they make about black women, whether it be our hair, our skin, our attitude, could it
Most
be
of the comments they make about your hair is that it's not yours.
other races of women wear hair that's not theirs, whether that's the nails, whether that's eyelashes? Why is
How,
it
how is it?
always an argument toward black women?
Hold
I'm
on.
just
How
saying.
is it? How is it self hate if they're
Well, let's talk.
saying
Well,
that?
that's another
Hold on,
thing.
wait, real quick, real
Okay.
quick, real quick,
Okay.
real quick. How is it self hate if their problem that they're having with your hair is that it's not your hair, which means if it was your hair, it would be your hair how it naturally grows from the root, is natural coarse kinkiness, nappiness, or whatever I don't know how you could there are some things that you can wrap up in self-hate, but you for damn sure can't wrap up the fact that black men
The hair,
criticize y'all. How's the person who criticizing y'all for putting a white woman's hair on your head got
the
self-hate,
the
and
hair,
the person who actually is rocking somebody else's hair
the
don't got
hair.
some self-hate?
I'm gonna
Like, you
keep it
gotta.
real. I'm gonna keep it real. The hair, the way that we wear our hair, it is a form of self-hate. And
Okay,
we face that hate toward black men and everyone, no matter how we wear our hair, it's always been a problem. If I wear my hair the way it is naturally, you get a lot of bad comments from all types of people. So my struggle, or just, and I'm gonna keep
you
my
get
struggle as a
bad
black woman
comments when
is,
you wear your natural hair.
can I wear my natural hair?
No, I said you said you get bad comments
Yes,
when.
like I've received comments like how my hair looks, like, or if someone tells me to put a wig back on, they make me feel very uncomfortable. So I would say, like,
I
I've been
mean,
black.
did it look like shit, or
No, like
did it look like
I've
this?
never, what?
Did it look like hold on, let me make this bigger. I don't know if that's gonna. Okay, that's not gonna work. I'm not gonna be able to zoom in. But this woman here, uh she don't got issues like that where people look at her natural hair and they got something negative to
That's
say
another
about it.
thing. Okay, so there's a
I
texturism bias there. So you have some women that can get away with having natural hair because of their curl pattern or how long it is. When you have 4C kinky hair, your hair could
explain
be
that.
down your back, but naturally it'll look like a little afro. And that's how my
Explain.
hair.
Hold on. Wait. Hold on. Back up. Explain 4C.
So
I
there's
be
different
forgetting.
textures of natural hair. You have 1B, that's supposed to be like the
No.
straightest.
Explain 4C. I think that's
4C
the one
kinky
that's.
hair. That's like some of the most. That's the kinkiest hair texture, and it's very curly. So no matter how your kinky hair could be this length, but wet up in its natural state, it could be all the way strength here. So I say it's a bias in our community with certain hair textures, even if they're natural. So she has a beautiful hair texture, but if her hair was straight, or excuse me, not straight, but a lot more kinkier, I don't think she some women can pull it off, some women can't. Sometimes in corporate America, you get judged for wearing hairstyles like that. I'm being honest. From a woman's point of view, as a black woman who has worn her natural hair, who wore the weaves, you get a lot of pushback. Whether the comments about its length, you get people asked to touch it. So, what's your opinion on that? Because you look confused.
Because
What
I
am I
don't.
saying?
No.
What am I
I
saying?
don't. No, I just couldn't shake the you accused of self
There
hate
is
when
a
it comes to the
texturism. There is a
to the.
texturism
All
bias.
right.
Not all
All
men
right.
love all natural textures.
All
They
right.
all
All
don't look
right.
that way.
I'll briefly touch on the whole corporate America thing. Y'all pretend like y'all gotta wear weave because of corporate America, and
Trust.
you go out and listen.
Okay.
I remember when that incident happened at that weave shop where I think it was a fight or something like that, or they some I think one of the store owner had to suplex one of the women in there or something like that. Then he made weave half off, and it was a line wrapped around the building. I didn't see a bunch of corporate executives in there. I
They
saw
wear
a bunch of women in tank tops, flip flops, and inside out pajama
they
pants
press their
at
hair
at
too.
high
So
noon.
they
So I
manipulate their
don't.
hair not to look real, not to look like its natural state.
So and when I look out into when I watch commercials today, all I see is commercials where whenever you see a black woman in a commercial, it don't matter if they advertise in the damn a Subaru or Direct TV or whatever. The black woman always has natural hair. It's almost like I don't buy that you get criticized, put down, or denied opportunities over the texture of your hair. I just
That's
don't buy
fair
that.
because you're not
At
a black
best,
woman, so
at best,
you're
at
not going to
best,
experience that.
at best, you probably do get some weird comments. A
Okay.
weird, a weird. Can I touch your hair every now and then? They ain't even trying to have no lawsuit on them for discriminating on somebody about their hair. Like
No,
that's not even a thing. But
I mean, you could say that as a man, but as a woman, as a black woman who for 25 years I've worn my hair all different types of ways. the hair thing has always been an issue. It's always going
I
to be
think
an
it's
issue.
been an issue to you. I
Not just
think
me. I've
I
I've
think it's
experienced
been an
other
issue to
women.
you. You already admitted you don't like how your natural hair look. I
I
think
said
everything else is you trying to just retrofit other societal reasons why you don't want to rock it. But reality is, just keep it real. When you get long weave in your hair, you think you look prettier. Tell the truth.
I do. I think I
All
look
right.
more presentable to society because
I ain't asking
that's
nothing
how we
about
are.
society.
That's
I
how
said
society.
you. I
I'm gonna
asked
keep it
you.
real. I feel that way because I've never been told growing up that my hair was beautiful, or that my mother, she was when I was a baby, she permed my hair. I mean, so I wasn't really raised to love my natural hair. Now I love my natural hair now because of I had to learn myself. But growing up, the women around me, I got picked, I got made fun of. Yes, the weird comments. I do feel like there's a bias, even especially in the military. So everyone has their own beliefs, and I understand what you're saying, that maybe it's I'm using society's or I guess I'm pulling a race card using that excuse, but that's how I feel. I'm gonna ask you, do you like long hair or black hair? Long hair or short hair?
Longer is better.
How long?
Um, the longer the better. I mean,
Okay. So do
longer. That
so
just
okay. So do you think black women naturally have long hair? The way their hair grows, does it appear to be long?
um it depends. It depends on how it grows. And that's the part that I will give you some validity. I'll give some validity to your point that if you're somebody like me who got to have some long hair, that was my woman in the picture that I showed. And
It's beautiful.
that
It's beautiful.
thank you. That's her hair. And yeah, I love that she's never had a perm, and can count on one hand how many times she put some weave in her hair.
She
So I
has a
think
good texture of hair.
yeah, but I think the mere fact that she ain't never put a hair helmet over it and had it she's never done nothing to damage it. I think that got
So
more to do with it.
was she raised like that? What did her mother do her
Yeah,
hair naturally? Okay. So
yeah.
that's
I
something
think
good.
yeah, and I think and that's what it goes to. I think a lot of what you talked about, the self-hate, I think that y'all inflict that on each other. Y'all inflict that on your daughter it's hard to
I
even
no,
say this, but it's
I
hard to
see your
hold on
point.
real
I
quick. Let me
agree.
just make this general point. It's hard to say this without shouting out Tommy Sotomayor. So I'll shout him out that when she sees her mom with long weave down her back, and then she's walking around and she just got the little braids on the little she got her little short hair, or she's trying to the mama combing her hair and yanking it out, and she crying, getting her. I mean, it's almost like you're practically training the daughter to hate her hair. It's
And
it's a thing. But I we didn't come here to
that is
we didn't come here to talk about hair. We didn't come here to talk about hair. But it came up. It came up. So we dealt with it. I'm gonna get back to the nasty, hateful comment that you left.
nasty, hateful.
Yeah, I'm gonna get back to the nasty, hateful comment that you left. Man, we only like 3 lines in, and we didn't have this much to talk about. I thought we was gonna be talking for 30 minutes to the hour, then 45 minutes, and then we was gonna move on, and I was gonna let you go, and then I was gonna chop it up with the fellas about whatever. But okay, he said this only seems to be a problem for black culture. Okay, let me just go this. So some of y'all use any excuse not to. Oh yeah, this was a good part. You said some of y'all use any excuse to not provide for the women and children in the community, and it shows. Now, you said that. Period. Space. Another sentence. We want black men to take responsibilities for the families that they create. Explain those two different sentences. I
So,
don't
um,
because hold on. Do you see a distinction in those two different sentences?
in saying that
Some of y'all use any excuse to not provide for the
this
women and children in the community, and it shows.
it
Then you
shows by
went
the
on
number
to
of single parents that are women. It's
okay.
and
Why are
I
you
felt like
talking?
this video was geared toward married men in relationships, and by this woman saying that the man providing in a marriage is her way of saving money, hoarding money for herself. I didn't agree with that.
Well,
So
that can happen in a marriage, but it's more likely to happen if two people living together and not married, but she got him operating under traditional masculine roles,
I don't agree with.
but she's still working. And then yeah, she do got her little money put to the side, or she just got her freedom while in a relationship because she got her own money that she could spend and do what she want to do with it, while she got him humping and working and paying all the bills, being a traditional man for essentially a
and
non-traditional woman.
and
Like
that's not right. And this video, I think it was
then
titled
that should have been your comment then.
well, no, I'm gonna agree that both parties should be. I mean, I feel like if in a marriage, if both parties should be working to support that household, and no matter how that's done mathematically, but the woman doesn't just to spend her money seriously. She needs to be saving her money for emergencies, saving it for vacations, paying for things in the house. But I think that was an old saying back in the day, because women didn't have access to bank accounts, or they couldn't get their own home. So telling women to save up money, have money on the side, that was like that's like something an older woman would tell you to do. I didn't think that was a modern rule. So traditional, like I said, I believe that if you're in a marriage, the man should be paying majority of the bills, but the woman is not just being careless and making him just work. There should be some balance. But I think
All
that
right. Well, all right. Well, the part that jumped out to me, and I'll explain what I thought. I was trying to see if you were going to say it, but I see a distinction between those two statements where you say some of y'all use any excuse. Excuse me. Some of y'all use any excuse to not provide for the women and children in the community, and it shows. And then you said we want black men to take responsibility for the families that they create. When you said provide for the women and the children in the community, it sounds like you were talking that sounded like you were talking about men who didn't create those families doing things community wise to provide for these children. It's like bare minimum you're talking about community service, charity, or stepdaddy season.
no,
And then that then,
no,
then when you put a period on that sentence and then went over to and also we want black men to take responsibility for the families they create. I'm like, okay, we could talk about that. But the other part when you're talking about provide for the women and children in the community, it's almost like you're talking about men in the community taking on other men's responsibilities.
no,
Because
not.
all right. So I just wanted to make sure you wouldn't go in there on that one. But all right. So we want black men to take responsibility for the families that they create. All right, cool. Let's talk about that one. Now, we talk about a lot of stats and data here, and we know that it is what it is. Women file about 80% of the divorces. So even when a woman actually gets what she actually wants, she gets a man to marry her, her relationship goals, bucket list is complete, she still opts out and files for the divorce. She still breaks up the relationship. She still ends the marriage. She still breaks up the family. And we know that the majority of the time, most men try to get 50% custody, and she fight for him to not be able to get 50% of custody to reduce him down to the weekends. And that's what they do when they find a husband. So you know damn well if they get pregnant and it's not their husband that they even more cutthroat about that. So how could you look at that and then turn around and make it seem like it's all on men? We need y'all to take responsibility for the families that y'all create, when women in many ways be showing that they don't be really wanting those families, or they be changing their minds on those families, or they be breaking up. It's almost like after the breakup happens and the man goes here and the woman goes there, and then by law, more times than not, the kid is going to be with her. That gets a relationship ending gets defined as a man leaving the family without considering that no, this woman left the family. She just don't get to be the son. She don't get to just be called the family. She broke up the home. I don't even like the term. There's no, why aren't there fathers in the home? No, why aren't the woman in the home? It's like this whole little thing, like wherever the woman lay her hat is the home. Like, no, the man's house is the home. He didn't disappear. He didn't evaporate. He live in a house somewhere. Why her ass ain't in his house?
So from that point, I think there are some cases that fall in there where the married woman was married and they divorced, and she doesn't want, for whatever reason, the father to see that, which is evil. In that sense, yes, she is breaking up the home, and that's a problem.
You said that's evil? Hold on. You
Yes,
said
that's
that's
evil.
evil if she don't want the father to have custody?
Yes, because a father is just as important in the child upbringing as the mother. So her
How many times before today have you made that statement in a place where it mattered? Because I get to feel it like when women say that, oh yeah, that's wrong, yet they still you don't hear them
well,
like if enough women thought that that was wrong, then I tend to believe that it would be more arguments between women about this.
and
It would,
that's why listening to some things that are in the manosphere, I can agree with. That really does break down the family structure, and we don't really feel that way. Um, a lot of it is that boss bitch mentality that I can do it on my own. Women have the resources these days to do it on their own. They're being given resources by the government to do it by their own. And if there is a lot of resentment in the relationship, women are going to do it. And I think it's wrong. Um,
all right,
my
so
issue,
whoa, hold on. Now, do you see how you made the comment that just came with all that niggas ain't shit energy, but you just conceded the simple point that the manosphere been making that no, it's a lot of these women that ain't worth a
well,
damn.
there's out of those 80% of single parents, some of them are married, some of them were never married at all, and some of the men are incarcerated or dead. So there are
I don't,
different reasons why a woman could be raising a parent, or excuse me, a baby on her own, besides her being married and getting divorced. Maybe she was never married in the first place. Or the
mhm.
man, a lot of the stories that I hear are that they had a baby, they were never married, he ran off, he don't want to pay, he don't want to help. In that sense, I don't agree. Men need to take care of the families that they help create. But if a woman is keeping that man from providing for that family, then she is just as wrong.
When you said keeping the man from providing
Well,
the family, that's an oddly
raising.
worded statement. I mean, I think a genuine person would have said if she's keeping that man away from his child, if she's trying to keep that man from raising the child, like
Yeah.
keeping him from providing is like no, that they not doing that.
Well, yeah,
They
that's
not
because
they
yeah,
not
because
they not they not keeping him from sending a check.
you're
Actually,
right. Yeah,
they're
yeah.
fighting pretty hard to make sure that that's all he sends.
I will exactly. I will make that distinction. Yes, they are not necessarily fighting for so he won't provide. They're fighting so they won't help raise, and that's a problem in our community. A lot of men are on child support and they're paying a lot of money, um, and I can see where a lot of their resentment comes from, and I can see why maybe they don't want to have a relationship with their kids, or that relationship is ruined, and that those kids, um, how they grow up, I think it tends to be an issue. So just the idea of broken homes in our community, I think that's bad. And it
Yeah.
all
Mhm.
starts from how we were raised.
All right, all right. Gonna move along fast here. Let's see. Let's see. Let me look at this. Let me look at this. I lost my place where we were at. We want black men to be in the home for those families and provide the same way a non-black man would. What does that mean?
So if we're going, you know how black men say that other races of women are more feminine.
Yeah.
So I believe that they're that way because they were able to be raised in a household where they learned how to be feminine, and they had a father in the home.
The
And
father taught him
if
how to be feminine,
well, a father does play a role in raising a daughter. So it teaches her how to
but he teaches
respect
her
the
how to he teaches her how to be a woman.
in a way teaches her how to respect the man's authority. If you don't have a man in
That
the
part is
house,
true.
how do you know how to talk to other men? So having a man in the household is important. That's why you have some black women are very just off the wall because they didn't have a father in the house. And so having a father house would negate all that. So I was trying to mimicking other cultures of people, other cultures, because they have that mother and father in the household. The father is providing that discipline aspect. The mother is providing that nurturing aspect. We need to follow suit.
All right, no, I agree. We need to mimic what other people. We need to mimic what other people do a lot more. Other people do it right on average more than we do. I'm sitting here reading and listening to you, but all right, let me let me get back. Let me focus. I can't do two things at one time. I was looking at the chat, I was reading your comment and listening to you, and I can't
Yes.
I can't do all that at one time. Now, how much of it do you think is when okay, you said I think you were talking about just the other women come out better because the family structure is stronger, but then you just previously was talking about how a lot of women, in this case we was talking about black women, um, do a lot of things to break up that family structure. So
I
it
was.
seems
I'm sorry.
it seems like the way to go, because like I pointed out, these men of other races, they not making all that much money like you talk about how you point out. It seems like those women of other races at a higher percentage rate. A lot of them are still modern women and got feminist ideals. I think most, if you're born in the West, if you're a woman born in the West, you have those feminist ideals, and that's just that just is what it is. But I think those other women at a higher percentage rate understand that they got to do a proper assessment of themselves, figure out where they're at, and before the clock runs out, they need to get with a man, attach themselves with a man, and stick with that man, come hell or high water. And they do that at a higher percentage rate, so their families stay together at a higher percentage rate, and they produce better outcomes for their kids at a higher percentage rate. Whereas the flip side of that, um, you got a lot of black women who got that, we hard to deal with and they proud of it. We ain't submitting to no man. I strong, independent, don't need no man. They loud, complicated, and hard to deal with, combative and proud about it, brag about it. And these relationships don't work out, they fail. And then they some of them would do like you did, come online and make long statements like the ones that you made there, even though you don't condone none of those behaviors that you said, that you claim to not condone none of those behaviors that lead to that problem that you identified. But nowhere in your comment did you bring any of that up. And when I even tried to prompt you to see how much of this do you actually say to women, you don't say it. So it's almost like you're
Well,
you're partially an enabler. Like we don't get enough credit for it, but we call out men over here all the time. Unproductive serial impregnator. They get called out over here. The manosphere be at war over that. It get the Pookie and Ray Ray thing. Like we be at war over that, over
well,
calling out other men. But on the female side, that doesn't happen. Y'all be on code. Like we literally just saw a woman with a million sub platform, Tasha K. She on her way to a million subs, literally just make an excuse for a woman, a sex worker who deliberately started a fight with a man, had to get held back by another man, fought through, did a defensive end swim move, fought through that man and punched another man, and they somehow blamed the man who got punched. And they sitting there on a platform with millions of people watching, making excuses for this sex worker who went on another man's $1 million platform and assaulted somebody. Like that's what's going
so
on the female end. But the men, we at war where half the men are blaming Tommy Sotomayor and the other half is like saying, forget that, he should have uppercutted the shit out of her. So it's like we have actual debate over this type of stuff. But y'all on code. Y'all be on code for the fuckery. Go.
um, as far as there's a couple of comments that I wanted to make. I don't know what happened with that whole Sotomayor situation, but I'm going to call something out when wrong is wrong, whether you're a man or a woman. Um, something you said. I can't remember.
I was rambling.
You said something I wanted to hit on. But okay, so actually this was the first time, I like having these conversations with men because you start to kind of understand some. A lot of us don't get to have these one-on-one real conversations so we can figure out what the problems are in the community. And so it was the first time me hearing from a male's point of view say, well, hey, these women are fighting hard to keep us out of these homes through the court systems. And that makes a lot of sense to me. And so I can agree that's an issue. So I think one of the problems is we don't have women and men these face-to-face conversations without having outbursts or not really seeing each other's side. So I can definitely, I guess it's not necessarily that I'm being an enabler, but part of it is ignorance. But I can if you're So if you're bringing it, when a man brings something to my attention to light like that, I don't try to argue against it because I'm a woman. I'm going to say if I feel like it's wrong, I'm going to say it's wrong.
All right. All right, cool. All right. We said a lot of stuff that was in the article we almost indirectly covered. It's still a few things. This is the one part where you responded to the actual video where you're saying here, oh, okay, well, we going you said it's in most women's nature to settle down and nest. Uh, I don't. I'm not convinced that in this modern time women can say that. Like it was a whole generation of women who were in situations where they were settled down and nesting, and the man was working, and the whole works. They didn't like it. They fought against it. They wanted their freedom. They marched and burned bras in the street to get out of the kitchen, to get out of that nesting area. And now
Well,
they out here, and now women are out here in the real world, and they working, and they doing this and they doing that, they doing all this stuff. So it's like I don't think y'all can wear the title of natural nesters anymore.
so what I mean by that is women don't go and jump from family to family to family. You don't have a baby with one man and then have another baby with another man. Normally, those
What?
two children stay in the home. We don't try to have different families from all over the coast. And I would say females, just not human females, but just I was just thinking nature wise, we are natural nurturers. We want to build a home, have children naturally. Now, I guess
But I think
modern
y'all y'all
times.
y'all rebelled. Y'all rebelled against your nature,
So
though.
what happened was we wanted to
See
be.
what had happened was.
No, okay. So what I mean by I think women wanted to be equal, but we didn't want it to be treated equal. We didn't want what equality came with, and so I think for most women, we just wanted to be respected. We wanted to be treated fairly, not so. And I will stand. I'm not necessarily a feminist. I stand on the side of I like there are pros and cons of being a woman, and there's pros and cons of being a man. I like being a woman. I'm going to play against what I have, but I just don't. I got a lot of about to say. I'm sorry.
Because no, that's you're having one of those malfunctions I be talking about. you,
No,
you're breaking, you're hot wiring.
yeah,
Because
but I don't mean it in a bad way. But I just feel like women naturally we want to take care of a family. We don't want to be out in the streets, sleeping with man after man after man, hustling. I mean, that gets tiresome. And so the women that are doing this out here now, that's why
how
they're
much
so aggressive.
how much of it do you think that y'all actually do want to do all that stuff that you described, being out there, getting it by yourself and everything? Y'all want to do that. Y'all want to be free. Y'all want to have some hot girl summers. Y'all want to do y'all thing. But then y'all, later on, y'all want to get married. Yeah, basically, y'all want to be exactly like men. That's how men live and operate. We
Well,
be
I mean,
single and free. We be single and free in our 20s. We get it in. We, be doing our thing, try to get a little rotation going. And then sometime around 35, when we, a got a little tired, a little more successful, making a little more money. Like the actual average marital age for men is 35. Like that's when we want to, that's around about the time that men start at least thinking about getting out the game, so to speak. And I think women, a lot of y'all just want to operate like men. Y'all want to do the same thing. Y'all want to do the same thing, and y'all want to try to check out the game, later in the game, and y'all finding out the hard way. I don't know how old you are. Not when I talk to women, I don't dig into the personal. I care more about the ideas and not the people. So I don't even care how old you are. But a lot of women, they find out later in the game that, oh shoot, this I would like to nest and be married and all of that. But when you find yourself, because the average marital age for women is 33. So when you find yourself going into the mid 30s, already done had a couple kids, and you find yourself in that situation where you're over 30, overweight with a couple kids, in some cases by a couple men, you find out it's hard to get married. It's
well,
hard to get this thing that you saying that y'all want. When you say you're natural nesters, it become harder to get that. Now, yeah, there's a stepdaddy season sent bailout plan that's still on deck. Some of y'all can get that, but for the most part, y'all going against nature. I mean, it is what it is.
I can't really say anything for the women that do that. I don't. And yeah, women have been, I guess, doing some of the wrong things, but why not create a family with the man that you had your first child with? Why wait until you're 30 to say that you want to get married?
Right on,
And
right on, right on. Well, hold up. Yeah, see, I'm looking at your. No, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off. I was reading out loud. I was my bad.
yeah, and I
I'm,
think a lot of the women who do get married young, I think they find out in the end that usually when you're young, you have a young mindset and you may not be in the right capacity to choose someone who's really good for you. And so you maybe end up marrying someone for a couple of years, you figure out that's not really for you. I see a lot of women in their late to early 30s complain about, getting married young, getting married to the wrong person. And so then they kind of go out into this, they have this, I guess, this whole phase. I don't know what that's all about, but it is
stop
out
the cap.
there. What are you talking?
I
I don't know what the whole
I-
phase is about,
you don't
but
you don't know what that is.
I don't.
You just be praying. You just be praying, waiting on the Lord to send you a good man, huh? That you just.
Yeah, I don't
Mhm.
do all that, but I got over that a long time ago. But that's what some women are doing, and I understand why they want to. I guess I understand why waiting. I'm 25 now. I don't have any children, but I wouldn't have children if I were to have. One of my biggest fears is to have children and not be married, or there being in a relationship where he leaves me. I don't believe in having children out of wedlock. So I see why there's a lot of issues in our communities, and a lot of it is how we were raised and how their mothers maybe were raised in a household where they were the single parent. They raised them to be independent because they had to be independent. So,
All right. All right. I'm about to do something I wasn't planning on doing, but
oh,
I can't not do it because the gentleman that I'm about to bring up into this conversation, somebody who I've crossed paths with plenty of times, I think this might be my first time actually speaking to him live in real time. We got to let the legend Grinch up in the building. Please be nice. Please be nice. Don't blow up the spot. But what's up? What's going on, Grinch?
What's good? What's good, Bernard? Hey, you know, I'm not coming up here for a long spiel, but
Yeah.
I just wanted to tell homegirl right here, like,
Uh-oh.
well, first question, you in the military?
I was a long time ago.
Okay. And
How'd you
how old are
tell?
you? You
25.
know, you can tell I'm a vet, but
Gotcha.
okay. So you telling me, like, look, my whole problem with this shit is, what was up with that energy you put in Bernard's comment section? And you backtracking on everything that you said in
I,
the
I'm not.
comment.
I'm not trying to back. I'm being real. I feel like there's a lot of men in our community that don't want to take responsibility that the families that they create. It's a lot of single mothers, and they're being blamed for being fast and all the problems in our community. When I feel like it's the men, I feel like the men are leaving or they don't want to take any responsibility. But I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to talk to different people and realize what the root issue is. So maybe it's a joint thing. Maybe we both need to come together, but a lot of it has to do with how we were raised. Um, and so it wasn't necessarily I was being like, it wasn't bad energy, but I felt like at the time it was like black women are hustling black men out their money. Because I see modern women, I see a lot of images with black women. So I assume that's like the the word for black woman. So that's how I took it.
Here's the other thing too. There's this assumption that you like, kind of how you phrase what you just said, that there is that
Oh shit.
No.
Damn it. Did we lose him? Shit. He gone. God dang it. I'm gonna give him a chance to come back. Oh shoot. We got Jackie Jack in the building. I wasn't planning on opening this up. I was about to hold on, wait, I'm gonna drop you back down, Jackie Jack. Grinch came back. There you go. All right, go ahead, Grinch. You got it. Mic check.
Yo, you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. Are you driving, huh?
Yo, yeah. That's why I'm about to get off here because I'm about to be keep on dropping and
Okay.
shit. But look, there's this.
All right. We'll see if you get somewhere stationary. Go ahead, Jackie Jack. What you got?
Hey, how you doing?
Doing good. Doing good.
I have a quick question for the lady. I wanted to ask, how many relationships have you been in that the guy broke up with you?
None.
So all the relationships you've been in, you broke up with the guy.
That's correct.
So when it comes down to you putting this out here that men are not taking care of their family and they're leaving their family, most of the time it's the women that leave and they pick the guys.
Well,
So they don't even like the guy that they picked.
I would say I think raising children it's the dual effort. So regardless of whether she liked the guy that he picked or he liked her, they both need to be in the home to raise the child. And as far as I ended those relationships, I'm not married and I don't have children. So it's easy for me to leave a relationship if I don't have those things connected. If I did, I would make it work. There is no leaving a situation where I have a baby with someone or if I have a union with them. But if a relationship doesn't work for me, and that's the thing, should you really stay with someone if it's not working for you, whether it's a marriage or a relationship? Could you still co-parent the child?
My quick answer
That's
to that is that you should try hard as hell to stay with that person. If it's kids involved, it's a full blown marriage, it's kids involved. Yeah, you should try hard as hell. I think what you just said right there is a part of the problem. A lot of people, and by people, I kind of mostly mean women, but yeah, they on some. This isn't working for me. I'm not. My needs aren't being met. I'm
Well,
not being. I'm not being made to feel a certain type of way or blah blah
it
blah,
should be
and
both.
then fuck the family, filed a divorce. But then when all said and done, it's a man who walked out on his family. That's how it gets. That's how it gets spun. I'm gonna bring Grinch back up. Thank you for your questions, Jackie Jack.
Hey,
Grinch,
say this, get out of here because my shit is gonna cut off again.
right? God dang. Yeah, it ain't happening. It ain't happening, Grinch. It ain't happening. We can't even hear you. I'm very, very upset about that. Very upset. It looked like it's a no go. Look like it's a no go. But all right, I'm gonna pass it to little big Nate. Go ahead, little big Nate. And all the people that have been super chatting, my bad, y'all. Like I starred the super chats. I'm about to go through them. I appreciate everybody who been supporting the stream. I appreciate all y'all. But go ahead, little big Nate.
Hey, how you doing, Bernard? Appreciate you letting me
Wonderful,
on.
wonderful, wonderful.
How are you doing, madam?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I'm gonna help you realize something. Okay,
Uh-oh.
that's what I'm gonna do. I want you to clear all the cobwebs out your head, and I want you to listen to me very carefully, because once you hear me say this, it's gonna take away a lot of your argument, especially about black men and not taking care of their children or their families. Okay, and it's going to synthesize for you how poorly such a number of black women make decisions on mating. All right. Now listen to me carefully. I put this out about a year and a half ago. Even Kevin Samuels has used it on his show. If 51% of black men are single and childless, and 32% of black men are married, that's 83% of black men not causing this bastard illegitimate child problem. 83% by anyone's measure is the overwhelming majority. Again, just so you don't forget what I'm telling you, madam, 51% of black men are single and childless. 32% of black men are married. That's 83% of black men not causing this problem. Now, if we do some simple subtraction and addition, that leaves 17% of black men having all these goddamn children, with a sizable portion of black women. It supports the idea of the 80-20 rule, and it demonstrates that you all choose the men that you want. That's why we have a black community in this country with so many baby mama number 5s, baby mama number 10, baby mama number 20. It's because you all, after demanding complete autonomy over your lives, and you demanded it for 40, 50 years, men are to have no say over any aspect of how you conduct your life, not even your fathers. You won't even consult the men that love you more than any other man on this planet. We've all listened to Kevin Samuels, and how many times has he asked a black woman, well, do you have a relationship with your father? A lot of black women will say, yeah, I talk to my father. How often do you consult him on your mating choices? To a woman, they say never. Blame what you see in the mirror for 75 to 80% of these problems. You wanted complete control over your lives. You got it. And now you're running them into the proverbial ditch over and over again. It's not decent black men causing any of these problems. It's a very small minority of chaotic and dysfunctional black men that you all happen to absolutely adore. It's your fault, not ours.
Okay.
Right.
Those statistics are very eye-opening.
I know.
So for you said 38% were married?
No. 51% of black men are single and childless. 32% of black men are married. That's 83% of black men who aren't out here making a bunch of illegitimate children.
So the percentage of that's married, do they have children?
Many of them do, yes.
And
what does that have to do? Those they're married, they're in the household with their children.
Okay, so the main thing I was saying, that children that were raised in these households, they manifest into choosing or creating these type of Punky and Ray Ray relationships, or these.
Ma'am, 80% of black women's children are born out of wedlock now. If 83% of black men are not causing this problem, you're having 70+% of your children with men that are dysfunctional. And this is what happens when women get to choose and make all their own choices. Whether you're prepared to admit it or not, believe it or not, you were designed by your creator to be under the direction of a man that cares for you. Black women live in complete opposition to that idea.
Why is that?
And you pay for it.
Why is that? Why did that?
Because I'll tell you, you've embraced feminism, and you are the greatest supporter of the left and Democrat ideology.
Why did we start supporting that ideology? Out of anywhere?
You bought completely into the idea of civil rights, and you bought completely into the idea of modern wave feminism.
Why would we not go along with our men? Was everything right at home? Or black?
No, there were too many opportunities and made for you by going on the state.
Hold on, wait, time out. When you say why wouldn't we go with our men, like listening to how you're talking right now versus the comment that you made, clearly, not that you're going to cop, not that you've copped a plea on everything you said, but I think you realize that there are some things you were misguided on. So when you ask that question, why would we go that way? Why would we do that? Then a lot of women were misguided and went the wrong way, or a lot of women just flat out wanted to do what they wanted to do when they wanted to do it, how they wanted to do it, and they enjoyed it, and they enjoy it until they get the diminishing returns on it later in life.
My question is, why would a woman want to reach out to try different things? If everything was being if we were getting treated fairly at home, what would be our reasoning to want to move with the feminist movement? Was there any discrepancies with relationships before?
Madam, suggesting that relationships are perfect, it's ridiculous. Where are you going to find a perfect relationship? Give me.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying,
madam, give me the examples of black men oppressing black women in American society. Go.
You're
Give
more likely
me
to assault us.
widespread examples of oppressing black women by black men.
We're 3 times more likely to be assaulted. Black men go to prison more likely than black women.
Madam,
That don't got nothing to do with
3 more times likely to be assaulted. Madam.
Compared to other races of women in their relationships,
madam, let me give you some more insight on something. There is nobody on the planet Earth that causes more harm to black American women than black American women.
So
I'm sorry.
You're saying that
if you're 3 times more likely to be assaulted, then what I need you to do is go look at the tens of thousands of videos of black women beating the living hell out of each other, because they're all over the internet. Or if you don't
see
want
videos of black men,
if you don't want to go to the internet, madam,
black men and other races of men as well.
Excuse
so you're killing each other as well too. So
yes, black ma'am, black men are violent because they're not raised properly.
Okay, so you can make the same situation. You can make the same thing with black women.
Black women, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But madam, black women demanded to be in control over the household and raise their children their way without a father.
We were made to be in charge of the household environment.
No. You decided to do that. Listen,
you admitted earlier in the show that women are making decisions that lead to that. You kind of conceded that.
Well, that is part of the reason. There are, out of that 80% of single parents, there are multiple reasons why they are single parents. I think it's only like a 30% that them actually married. It's not all single parents.
Ma'am, they're ultimately single parents. Listen, these ladies are ultimately single parents because they chose a specific type of man.
So why is there, and that's the way, I don't like that thinking in our community. Why is it always so much energy toward the woman? These men have these children as well.
Because the women are responsible, madam.
The man is
you are responsible for pregnancy. Ma'am, you dictate who gets born and who doesn't in America.
And you dictate whether or not whether you wear a condom or you pull
No.
So
listen. You're trying to bring some level of equality to the blame. Sorry, madam.
There is.
No, there is not.
Wait, hold on.
If
there is not.
Born is the woman and the man's responsibility.
No, ma'am.
There's not one greater.
No, ma'am.
Right.
No, ma'am. When a child is born, madam,
I don't know when you're going to ejaculate.
Madam, when a child is born in America, the woman decides if the child is born or if the child is not born. Okay. You are given 100% of making the determination, death or life.
You have a point.
You demanded that for 40 years and you ultimately got it. Now you're going to deal with the repercussions and the responsibilities of the mess that's made.
I think the better way, hold on, wait. I think the better way to explain it is that if you know you have 100% control and say over what's going to happen, whether or not that life is going to come into the world after the inception, I think the onus is then more, the onus is on you to be very careful about who you give your womb to. There are a percentage of men. There are a percentage of men that ain't shit. All right, it just is what it is. They're going to exist. The men who fall in that not worth a damn category, they're gonna exist. It is incumbent upon a woman walking around as a free citizen in this world to make sure that some reckless serial impregnating dude slinging community semen around does not give her any of that community semen. In the event that he do and you end up in a bad situation, yes, that's your fault. Now you can say that no, that man need to step up and be a man, but like Little Big Nate just laid out, if 50% of the men are single and childless and the other 30% are married, that means that there was a majority of men who didn't fall in the category of the man that could potentially leave you in that bad situation. Now, granted, you could pull among the 80% and things could not work out. I mean, I sort of fall in that category. I got married, I had kids, and then over time, after 13 years, the marriage didn't work, custody battle, blah, 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 blah. We did that whole thing. So I'm not saying that you could bat 1,000 by making better choices, but when you got all those freedom and rights, you have to make better choices, and you can't make bad choices and then just default back like you're a victim who didn't make those choices.
Well,
There are men who make bad choices, who do reckless shit, and when they try to come up on my panel and be talking and getting in these conversations about, like, Lil Big Nate was married, he had his kids within a marriage. I had my kids within a marriage. The dudes who be on that serial impregnating stuff, when we having these conversations, nah, like it's a place for y'all. Go. I don't let them in. I don't put on a cape for them because I know that they're a part of the problem. I know when I'm talking to a dude that's a part of the problem, and it's always this failure to acknowledge the women that are a part of the problem, because you acknowledge in one hand the things that they do wrong, but then you try to just wipe it away with just this notion that this man who probably wore it on his sleeves what he was about, and she gave him raw sexual access, and she ended up in that situation. It's gaslighting to try to even make it seem like black men as a whole, as a collective, need to do something to solve this problem. And we can point out, like, yeah, I know who is who. I know the
what?
difference between the good. I just, like when I showed my woman earlier, I
How do
knew I
you
was dealing with a solid chick. I know when I'm dealing with a solid chick
how do you
versus
know
if I'm
this?
dealing. Are you serious? Are
There's
you
a
going
no,
to
no. Let me
pretend?
explain. Let me
Are you
explain. Let
seriously
me
going to
explain.
pretend like you
How do you?
don't? Go ahead.
How do you?
Go, no,
Okay,
go ahead.
there's a lot that I wanted to address in your comment. First, as far as abortion is concerned, we do have the capability to say whether this child is born or not. My mindset is this: a woman can have one child per year. A man can create multiple children within that year. So this
Mhm.
single children epidemic, still, I'm not saying whether it's all the woman's fault or all the man's fault. I'm saying that a lot of the energy is toward the woman, and they both need to be held to blame. So whether
Because
If
that's
a
you
men
man,
using,
if a
he's
man,
the
hold on,
man.
if a man who, like you said, can make multiple children in a year, some man shows up with 6 kids by 6 different women, I can agree that that man ain't worth a damn. But in that same equation, I'll give baby mama number 1 a pass. You could maybe give baby mama number 2 a pass. But in that equation, it's at least 4 or 5 women who ain't worth a damn, who made some bad decisions, who got pregnant by a man who currently wasn't taking care of his current kids.
I'm
So
not advocating for those women at all. And I'm not saying that those women don't hold any responsibility. I'm saying that the energy that we show those women, we should show those men as well. Though that
No,
17%,
ma'am.
those
society,
28.
No, ma'am.
hold on, wait.
Can I chime in real quick?
Society. I know, I got you, little big Nate.
Okay.
Society has been showing those men that energy. It wasn't until
I
men
don't agree.
came online and made platforms like this that the other side start getting told.
So that's just
The universal answer to the problem was just that black men are trash. That's been the answer for years. It wasn't until we came on here with some data and showed the other side, and then now you're trying to spin it around and say, well, no, that same energy need to be shown, but you wasn't calling for any switch up of energy when black women were being let off the hook for their part, for the part that they play in it. I know you wanted to respond to that, but
no.
go ahead, little big Nate.
Um, uh, ma'am, if I own a home, right? If I make sure my house is secure when I leave it. If I leave my house and I leave my front door wide open, there could be somebody that ends up coming into my house and take from me the things I've worked hard to purchase. If somebody enters my house, they're wrong because they have no business coming to a house that's not theirs. But if I don't secure my house, I'm even more wrong than they are. Your womb is your house. You either secure it or you don't. You demanded freedom and autonomy. You are an American citizen and you've received it. You cannot, out of one side of your mouth, say, I'm an independent woman. I make all my own decisions. Ain't no man going to tell me what to do. Then out of the other side of your mouth, blame men when the way you've decided to live your life falls apart. You just can't do that.
I agree that women should be protective over their wounds. You shouldn't allow anyone to just to ejaculate.
And ma'am,
I
we
agree
have
with that.
millions of black women who are not.
But I am arguing that there are consequences to, like, let's using the analogy with the house. Yes, it is wrong for someone to leave the house unopened, but the person that goes and breaks into the house, they're going to jail. This is the same premise. You may not feel like you have any responsibility to that child, but when she goes up to the court system, she could put you on child support, and that can have you pay thousands of dollars, maybe money that you don't even have. So I'm telling that black men need to be just as responsible, or those men that create those situations should be just as responsible as those women. They're just
ma'am. Your comment alluded to the fact that black men aren't taking care of their families, and now you have to admit that it is a minute number of black men that are not doing that.
I'm saying,
and not only is it a very small number of black men that are doing that, those are the men you all consistently choose. And the proof's in the pudding. Ayanla Van Zant in 2014 went to Memphis and did a show with a man in Memphis that had 34 children by like over 24 women, like 23, 24 women. And then she did a follow-up show where she had 6 black men. The guy from the original show was one of them, but 6 black men with 87 children by 50 different women. That falls, we got 6 black men, a very small number of men, and we have a group of women that all knew about each other, all knew of this man's past and this man's inability to care for his children, but still had unprotected sex with him. 75% of this mess falls on the women, and you're just gonna have to deal with it.
All right.
The proper man or pay the price.
I feel like both of the parties, I think they're both at fault. I mean, just the ways you speak bad about the women who open up their legs and allow these men to do it. These men are going up to these women, and whether they're I don't believe that 17% of the population.
17% of black men are doing this. 17% of black men are causing these problems. Why don't you black women address all your angst and anger at that tiny group of black men that always end up in your beds, oddly enough? Because guys like me, guys like Bernard, guys like, I would say most of the men in this chat aren't doing that. Aim your anger and your vitriol at the men who deserve it. And it's not black men. If 83% of black men aren't causing these problems, then aim your anger at the small group of black men who are, and the large number of black women who sleep with them. Why don't you do that?
All right, real quick. Hold on, real quick. I've been neglecting the hell out these super chats. It was a good conversation, though. Okay, never mind. Okay, women want to be respected and treated fairly. Shout out to Savant88. Women want to be respected and treated fairly. Both of those components consist of merit and competence. Women love ideas more than they love people. Let the man say what they want. Hashtag salute Bernard. Shout out to you. Shout out to everybody in the building. I might do all the super chats at the end of the show, but I do appreciate everybody. I had to read the $50 one. I had to read the $50 one. But all right. I didn't even want this to turn into. I didn't even want this to necessarily turn into this. I wasn't even going to do a panel. I was gonna jump in and jump out, or I was gonna drop her down and just bring up the fellas to chop it up. But no, this definitely turned into turned into something good. Turned into a good conversation here. Francesca, can anybody even see your name? Because I'd be bad about having the names right there. But anyway, but all right. Anything else you wanted to say in response to what Little Big Nate has been saying here?
The statistics opened my eyes. I wasn't so you did kind of open me up to that. And so if 17% of the black male population is impregnating 75% of the black female population and leaving them single and parentless, we should be mad at the 17%.
Yeah,
But
well, it's
I,
they're
my argument,
impregnating the children that are born out of wedlock are coming from that really small percentage of men. That's
okay.
probably the
So,
best.
but
That's the most accurate way to say
it
it.
just seems like compared to other races of men, those statistics are more, and so I would still say that
But
we
the
need
the
to do
thing of
better.
the thing of it is, madam, other races of women, they they divvy up the criteria of what is an attractive man in a much different way.
Because they were now that's something else I wanted to talk about, because having a man in the household is important as well, because she's able to show that daughter, okay, this is the man, this is the type of man that will be good for you. She's not going to bring home any type of guy if she has a man in the household. But because some people, most people, I would just say some, were raised in a household where there wasn't a father, maybe that's why they don't know how to choose their men, and those non-black women are.
The reason I never buy that argument is because, okay, let me look at it like this. Let's look at it this way. If a man raised a daughter without a mother around, let's say the mother died or just walked out and left him, and he raised the daughter by himself. Okay, that daughter, she may grow up a little rough around the edges, you know. He may not be the nurturer that she needs. So she may be lacking some femininity, but she may be better at sports, or maybe, you know, a little more aggressive,
You might know how to
because
dig a little.
that man isn't going to necessarily be able to, you know, teach her how to be a woman.
Well, I
He
would
could
say
teach her
this.
some things, but he can't teach her how to be a woman. But if that
He can
man,
show her what.
if that man raised a boy by himself, he's gonna raise that boy to grow up to be a masculine man. But it's almost like you're basically saying that woman, take a woman, she raises a boy by himself without a man. Yeah, she can't teach him how to be a man. He may be, come on, little big Nate.
My bad, my bad.
Yeah, he may be lacking something in the masculine department, but it's no exact reason why the girl who's raised by a woman is going to be should be lacking something in the feminine department. Yeah, it's good for her to be
Well,
able to see
well,
a man and see a male female interaction and everything,
in the
but
black,
you're basically saying that the burden is on a man to be there to help teach that woman how to be a woman. If she's being raised by a woman, that's the one thing she shouldn't be lacking in. She should know how to grow up and act like a lady. She was
I
raised by a lady.
I
But the
agree.
fact
So,
that she
but
can't grow up and act like a lady, saying that the woman who raised her wasn't acting like a lady, wasn't acting like a lady, that's the reason she ain't got no man there, because no man want to be with her masculine ass.
and that, okay, so in a household where you are raised by a single parent, but I feel like in the black community, these black mothers are raising their daughters how to survive, not necessarily how to depend on the man, but how to be independent. And that's why I'm saying that mindset is manifesting that, I don't need a man. Whereas another race of woman, because she has a man in the household, she can, maybe I assume she can rest in her femininity. She knows those
What does that mean?
so
What does that mean? Rest in femininity.
she
I
could
think that's
be
just some
the she
some
can
words. That's some words y'all made up. I don't even think y'all got
she
a
could the
definition for that.
feminine woman that you guys want, the
What
submissiveness, that's
what
what
does
I'm gonna
rest
describe.
in femininity
She can
mean?
rest in
Most
her thing.
women,
She could be the wife and the mother that you want. But I feel like
most women in this country work. Those we be
they
bringing
have
up
to
those,
work.
pesky facts and stats. So, um, women, the majority of women that are married, they work,
Because
but
they
the
have
Man,
to.
majority of
man,
women of other races, that doesn't stop them from being feminine. They don't all of a sudden become masculine women who are
Well,
combative and
they know
fighting
how
with
to
their
be in a
man.
household with a man. How do you know what's a relationship like? If you the first form of a relationship that you see is with your parents, how do you know what one is like if you don't have one parent there? You
so
don't even know how.
ma'am, are you for fathers having complete control over the mating choices of their daughters? Yes or no?
No.
Because as long as you can pick them, you're gonna fail.
This
As
is what I
long as you can pick the man, you're going to fail. I
okay.
promise you.
This is what I'll say. That's I personally feel like you need a man around to kind of show you, or at least a father figure to show you how a man's supposed to treat you, and he's supposed to kind of give you game and let you know how men act. um
Madam, most women fall victim to whatever popular culture tells them to do. I've raised a daughter. I got custody of my daughter when she was 2. I raised her by myself till she was 17. She went to go live with her mother for the past few years. Has no recollection of even living with her mother.
I would say like
And
I'm sorry.
But no, ma'am, either Black women are going to recognize the importance of men that care about them in their lives and seek out their advice, or they're not. If you're going to be in charge of your life and what you do, it doesn't, like I told you with the Kevin Samuels show, it didn't even matter the Black women that had their fathers in their life. To a woman, they said that they don't consult their fathers. They pick the guys they want. They're independent, strong women. They're going to do what they want to do. And if you want to do that, that's fine. But be prepared to pay 100% of the price. You can only blame me if I have some modicum of control over what happens in your life. You have demanded that Black men have none. And you don't even make distinctions on the type of Black men you should listen to. You don't say, well, I ain't listening to no dude that doesn't work. I'm not listening to no dude that's got a bunch of baby mamas. No, you say, I'm not listening to any man. Ain't no man going to control me. And again, you're an American citizen. You can do what you want. That's fine. But there is a price you're going to pay for alienating and dismissing the guidance of men that are put in charge over you by the Creator. And now you're paying the price, and it's a hellish price.
Okay. I feel I want to first by say that it was very admirable for you to raise your daughter, and not because not a lot of men do that. And
Wait, hold on. Let's back up. Like I said before, when men go through a divorce, the majority of them fight for 50-50 custody. The reason they have to fight for 50-50 custody, the $1 million question is, who are they fighting against?
Well, okay. I was raised in a situation like that too. My father fought very hard to get custody over us, but
why did he have to fight?
It's very personal, but he had to fight in family court. And so, but he figured that I'm
trying to get you to say it. Who did he have to fight?
So
she can't even say
personal.
it.
This is personal. That I don't want to get into my
just
family
answer
personal
to who.
business.
Just answer to who.
You're saying, okay. You're saying he had to fight. You're asking if he had to fight my mom. Yes.
Yes.
Of course, because he was in a heterosexual relationship, he had to go against my mom.
Yes.
But he had spent so much money in legal fees. At one point, he decided that because the court systems were so biased toward women, that it wasn't even worth fighting for us anymore. So,
wow.
How could you have that information in your personal life and then still make that comment that you made that sparked this whole show?
But this is what, because this is why I'm my homegirls. I see, and so maybe the whole thing is you guys love to say choosing the wrong men, but so I can understand. That's why I kind of understand that how the court systems work. And I've been in a single parent home. I've been in 2 of the same sex parent home, and I've been with a single mother. So I've kind of experienced different
wait, hold on, back up. Say all that again. What did you say?
I've been in a single parent home, a 2-parent home with a man and woman, and then a 2-partner home with 2 women. So I experienced different dynamics. I know it's the long story, but
I'm sorry. I know this is personal, and if you can just completely decline, I'm just going to say this sentence. You don't even got to respond to it. Your mom left your dad, denied him custody, left him, and went and got with a woman, and had you being raised by 2 women while denying the biological father access?
Yes, there was. It's a lot of stuff that, because maybe what happened to me is very personal, so I don't want to get into it, but yes, there was a situation that happened like that. So my relationship, and I was going to say, one of the things I pointed on was that's why I think it's bad when women do that, because of what they create or what happens in return, the product of that. Because now I'm the product, and not having a very close relationship with your father, I think that kind of determines what kind of men that you'll choose. And so I guess in my situation, you could say it was my mom, but it had a lot to do with my dad too. And I say it was both parties. So I don't want to use me as the example, but I kind of understand how hard it is for a man to fight in the court system and get custody of their daughter. It's
Do
kind of
you
Especially a black man, because you said, they don't make much money. We're not that productive. So yeah, it's really hard for us
well,
too.
compared to other races of men.
Yeah. So
yes.
yeah.
But
So
but a
we
lot of
it's even more difficult for us because we don't have anything.
yes, I'm not saying that's what I'm saying. It's very admirable of you, because not most men are even financially in that position. But I still feel like having a father in the home, just as well as having a mother in the home, does produce ultimate results in who that child is going to marry.
Well,
Because
ma'am, if that's such an important characteristic of a functioning society, why don't you promote the idea of us going back to a time where fathers played an integral role in the picking of their daughters' mates? Because all this family structure stuff you're talking about, it's never happened in an environment where the women just have carte blanche to do whatever they want to do. Women have to be kept under cultural and structural guideposts. They have to be guided. Their behavior has to be checked by social and cultural norms, and
so
also
where are these
consequences.
men? Where are these men to do that? Because
These, ma'am, these are the men that black women rarely choose. Sorry. Dependable, consistent men are considered boring. Didn't something be? She's some social media light skinned chick. I don't want no 9-to-5 guy. I need me an entrepreneur, a guy who's a plumber. From my show, the Little Big Nate Show. Y'all, please go subscribe.
Yes, subscribe to Little Big Nate. Subscribe to
Yes,
Little Big Nate,
please
please,
do
please,
that.
please.
So on my show, well, they took my old channel down on Christmas Day. I've had to start a new channel, and this is something I love to tell black women, modern day black women. If our great grandmothers had the same attitude that modern black women have, do you know what our great grandmothers would have said? I ain't dating no guy that works at the foundry. I ain't dating no guy that works at the Chrysler plant. I need me a Sammy Davis Jr. I need me a Nat King Cole. I need me a Thurgood Marshall. I ain't dating no ordinary man. You wouldn't be here if your mother had the same attitude that modern day black women have. I wouldn't be here if my mother in 1974 had the same attitude modern black women have, because my simple father wouldn't have been good enough for her. You women are on a collision course with ruin. I don't think you've come to the realization of just how close you are to everything being over for a sizable portion of American women.
There's a lot I want to tackle in that. So as far as being married is concerned, and then the women are telling, you said the men that I'm sorry, I kind of lost everything you said.
No,
It
it
you
was
try to
about
figure out
men
what's
being.
being said. Shout out to Chris
No,
M. Shout out to Chris M. Do appreciate the super chat. He said this is a great conversation. Absolutely, absolutely. I'm glad y'all enjoying the conversation down in the chat. There's 638 people in the building. Make sure y'all hit the like button. Make sure y'all hit the like button. Shout out to Tan in the building. She needs to read and watch videos about the boy crisis. Shaking my head. Also, shout out to the Beta Bell podcast. Wow, that's a funny name. Said rest in femininity means sit back, not work, but benefit. Yeah, it's a made up term or concept. But anyway, hopefully you gathered your thoughts by now. Go ahead. You were trying to say something.
I lost it completely, but I just feel like that's just a problem in our community, that we just need to be in the home more. I don't agree with how women are thinking now. I think that that mindset manifested because maybe they felt like they weren't going to be chosen. My theory is that if they were probably raised in a single parent home where they were taught or shown that, hey, you need to get the bag in order to survive. And that's why a lot of Black women, they want the richest, or they assume that we want the richest man out there.
Man, we listen to you, and that's what a number of Black women say.
I don't. Well, and I now
It's
there
coming
is
out of their mouths.
The women that call Kevin Samuel's show, they do have unrealistic. They have unrealistic. I forget. But
unrealistic dating standards.
yeah.
There's
So,
a
but I think that mindset comes from not wanting to struggle. Now, I don't think there's anything wrong with my simple father or average guy. I think,
ma'am, how do you avoid struggle in life? Please explain that to me.
I
How do you avoid struggle?
Well, that's a very weighted question.
It's actually simple. You don't avoid it. You learn how to deal with it and overcome it.
Well,
that's
avoid easier
struggle.
said than done. That's easier. And the question is, do you know how to deal with it? And because the Black community, because we really haven't, we're trying, we're trying to play catch up right now. And I think a lot of women naturally are going to want to date up. That's just how women are programmed to me. I don't think it's just a Black woman thing. Maybe so, but we want to date the man with the most resources because that just makes sense for us. Is that a bad thing?
No. Let me explain. It's a bad thing in the sense that you don't want to make the investment of time with the man. If you're 23 and you do what I've advised my 20-year-old daughter to do when she starts dating, I said, look, you need to at least start with a man that's 10 years your senior. If you at 22 start dating a man and marry a man who's 32, 33, you work with him on building a future together. In 10 years, you'll have a household that's making well into the six figures. You'll have a functioning, healthy household. You'll purchase your 4-bedroom house or 5-bedroom house with 3 bathrooms. You don't want to put the time in. You want to go and allegedly get all this stuff yourself, and then you're 38, you've had a couple of abortions, you got 2 or 3 children, and now you're ready to settle down. It does not work like that.
I think you're assuming that I fall in the category of women that have multiple baby daddies. And
no, I'm not going to assume that about you, but the problem is we have an ever-growing number of Black women who do. Constantly having children. There are women on the periphery of this space that are baby mama number 5s. This is a common occurrence in Black America. On my channel, I said, name me another community that routinely has a baby mama number 5. And you can't. You can't. No other community produces baby mama number 10s, 12s, and 15s.
So what can we do?
Black women are going to have.
Hold on, wait a minute. Let's hear what she's about to ask a question.
Okay, guys.
You answered it before she asked it.
No, but that was like, what can we do to as women? Because maybe we need more in around like you in the home, or are you I guess since you're on the ministry, are you taking your time to educate these young men to have?
Oh, I'm sorry.
To have that same view.
The overwhelming majority of the men in this space, as far as I can tell, are advising men to either avoid relationships with these modern Western women. It's not just Black women. There's a small segment that promote the idea of dating white women, but it's a very small segment of men that do that. A lot of the men are, there's a passport bros coalition that advise men to go overseas, still often pursuing melanated or Black women, outright. What I do, I advise, because I'm uniquely qualified, because I've raised a daughter by myself. There's things I know about women that a lot of guys don't. You don't learn these things by sleeping with a ton of women. I actually advise women a lot of times on my channel. And one of the main things I advise you is the most important, more important than the decision you make about your education, about your career, about any of this stuff, there is no decision you'll make that has more bearing on your future and what direction you'll end up in than the man you choose. It is the most important decision. And no group of women are more willy-nilly about making that decision than Black women. You all are, it's like you're determined to harm yourselves. And, you know, certain dudes are going to say, oh, well, you just want them to mess with guys like you because you don't want to see them with guys like us. You can sleep with whoever you want to. But the natural order of things is that men that care deeply about you are supposed to exercise some level of control over you. That man is your father. And then during the marriage ceremony, your father hands you off to a man he has vetted as qualified to carry on that job. You go from your father's structure, guidance, and discipline to that man. And once you X out the man, chaos is going to ensue every time. And that's what we see in the Black community. Chaos.
So
the simple answer, you're going to have to preach the idea of getting under the leadership of proper men. Period.
So we go out and find men to lead us, or do the men naturally step up and lead us?
What you'll do, you will, number one, learn how to make a distinction between good men and bad.
How?
I don't know.
Come on.
You gotta come to my channel.
I'm gonna be real. How do you know how to choose a good man?
Come to my channel. Come to my channel. I'll tell you.
Okay. Yeah. But just women in general, what should women do to cipher out who's the bad man, who's the good man if they don't have a man in their life?
How about doing a little inspection into his life, and if he has 2 or 3 children, leave him alone with different women. You all don't do that.
So, so are you saying that? If a man does has children,
hold on, stop.
Okay, maybe I'm being a little.
You gotta come to my channel.
I think we're going back down a gaslighting path if you're making it seem like you don't understand the difference in men. Like y'all be talking about all this female intuition and how y'all know when y'all know and y'all can decode and decipher so much stuff when it comes to the you know what a dude is about. You're not gonna bat 1,000. You're not gonna hit the bullseye 100% of the time, but you generally know what you're dealing with, and then you can go from there. I mean, like you know how to vet. Like okay. that part I feel like I think you're clearly you're playing the game right now. You're pretending to not know. You're playing the game right now. It was like the conversation was good, but then you're trying to take us back down a rabbit hole of pretending like you don't know the difference between a decent dude and a dude.
I'm not pretending I do, but as a young woman, if you don't have that father figure, how do you go about knowing that?
I don't buy that argument either, because if I went my whole life without ever being hugged and without ever being kicked in the nuts, I think I would still be able to look at them and figure out which one feel good and which one probably hurt. So I don't think that's an excuse to not be able to make a better decision with who you let in your life, who you like. So like I have to, regardless of how I was raised, I got to make a decision. Am I gonna mess with this chick? I'm gonna mess with that chick. I know if I've met some chick in some sketchy circumstances and we have raw sex and I end up getting her pregnant, it's my fault. I was behaving stupidly. But I know the difference if I'm messing with a decent chick and we do things more decently and we get a more decent outcome. Let's not pretend like we don't know how to figure that out. Like we're smart people. You just talked about all this.
Well, I understand you can be smart, but I'm more so talking about the psychology around why somebody would. Do you think it's possible that someone who didn't have a strong male figure like Mr. Nate in their life, would they grow up with that same ideologies? Would they potentially might choose the wrong partner?
Well,
it will be more difficult, but it's in no way, shape, or form as impossible as you would make it seem.
And also another thing, madam. On Kevin Samuels' show, I know I've brought him up a few times, but it's such a large pool of examples of just how insane a lot of these women are. I've heard numerous women say, I left my relationship, I divorced my husband, and usually the first thing they mention was the primary offense. And do you know what that is? They were
Financial.
too controlling. A man is, and this is something else I talk about on my show often. You can't protect something that you have no control over. Black women love running their mouths about protection. And out of one side of your mouth, you run your mouth about protection. Out the other side of your mouth, you say, no man is going to control me. You can't protect something you can't control. You can't protect your children if you can't direct them. A man can't protect his woman if he can't exercise any control over her. And woman after woman after woman, I left my relationship, I left my marriage. He was controlling, he was abusive. Absolute bull. Bull!
All right.
You are not getting protection if I can't advise you on what to do, because otherwise you're just going to get me killed. No.
That is how some Black women operate. I understand.
It's a lot of them, madam. It's a lot. Y'all love to say some, and I don't know you personally. It may not be you, but I'm telling you, a significant portion of Black women think and act this way. It's all over YouTube, man. It's all over the internet.
So where do you think, and maybe this is not me playing dumb, this is me trying to get to the root cause. Why do you think women want to rebel against their men, specifically Black women?
Because they follow popular culture, and that's all that media and print media and music and politics, Democrat politics, tells you to do.
So
it tells you to rebel. Everything you all hold dear tells you that the man is your enemy.
So is the media a stronger influence than the men in our community?
There aren't a lot of Black men in the Black community. Black men are usually ran out of the Black community. They go other places where intelligence is not mocked, where achievement is not looked down on. So a lot of communities, there aren't many men in them. There just aren't. It's a bunch of young dudes. It's not a lot of men.
So you're saying yourself that there's not a lot of Black men in the Black community that are trying to lead the Black women. However, the Black women are
No. But you're not acknowledging why they're not there. You're just saying, well, they're not there. They're not there because they're not.
Are you saying majority?
They're not there because they're not appreciated or respected. So they leave.
I think that could be debated. I think that there's problems on both sides as to why the relationship isn't working. But why don't Black men have the same amount of influence as the media does to lead them in the right direction? If that's all it takes.
Because you're free. You're free to choose what you want to do.
True.
And sometimes getting on board with a man is not as easy and comfortable or as freeing. You would rather be free and do what you want and live how you want. At some point, you do want to sit down somewhere. But for the most part, yeah, given the opportunity of freedom and living your own life on your own terms, yeah, a lot of times most women would rather take that, and then instead of doing something more traditional, so they would rather live modern. But then when they get those modern outcomes, then it's a collective problem with men. That's essentially what's going on.
So another question about the modern: do Black women, are they the ones mostly that don't understand that dynamic? Are we not? Because
at a higher percentage rate. I mean, you can just look at you just look at how Black men and Black women aren't together, don't get along, the least married, the least partnered, the least in everything. So you could just say, yeah, at a higher percentage rate, you could definitely say at a higher percentage rate they get it less. But other communities, they got the same problems. It's just not as amplified.
Well, you know what I attribute this to? And it's going to make some people mad, but it is what it is. 60 years of complete allegiance to the Democrat Party and liberalism. Yeah. It just is. Look, I'll say this, and then, please feel free to give other folks an opportunity. Madam, there is no coincidence that black women are you don't get offended, just hear me out completely. Black women are the least desirable women, not because black women are ugly, and it's not because black women are inherently bad, but 96% of black women vote with the Democrat Party, liberalism, put your boy in a dress, there are no genders, fathers are inconsequential. This poisonous ideology fills black women's heads with poison. No other woman in this country has that level of commitment and working with and allegiance to the Democrats. No group. It is not a coincidence that black women have all these horrific problems, and 96% of you vote with, listen to, and abide by what the Democrats and liberals and feminists say. That is a fact. It is no coincidence. You're looking for the reason? In my personal opinion, that's the reason.
So black women are the reasons for the outcomes of the black community.
Ma'am, if you say there are few men, and there are few men, most of the males I see, I'm an auto damage appraiser. I drive into these ghettos and single wide trailer parks all the time, few times a week. I'm driving in there to look at vehicles. I almost never see a 40, 50-year-old black man anywhere around. I see young men, I see older women and children. That's who I see. The men are, some of them are in jail, and other men who have sense in their head get the hell out, because we have to get rid of this collective idea that 3 or 4 black men, decent black men in a black community, are going to be able to change the community. That's insane. He'd be much better advised to get the hell out of that community and raise his children and his family in somewhere that's safe, where the people respect property rights, and his children won't be, under the pressures of crime and all that other nonsense. Okay. If black women want to win, you're going to have to be able to identify the good men from the bad. You're going to have to listen to those good men and be what they want a woman to be. And almost none of them want a boss, bitch, dominating, hustling chick. None of us do. And then you go pick one of those men and build a future with them. That's it. It's a simple answer to this.
What can the men do in our community?
What's that?
What can the men do in our community, or are they not the problem?
What can
wait, hold on. Don't even answer that. Don't even answer that. Sorry, don't even answer that. Don't even.
Why you tell them not to answer it? Why you tell them not to go ahead?
Okay, so there's this theme real quick, and I didn't want to cut in. I just got
go ahead.
There's this theme that keeps happening, where, in as much as it seems like she's catching on to the accountability part, what women can do, it's almost like a white blood cell. She wants to bring it right back to, well, what can the men do? He just explained what the men can do, but aren't allowed to do. The men can help the woman vet, but they're not allowed to. Why ask the question again?
Because I feel like, once again, it's a team effort. It seems like it's
hold on. I get team effort. I get all that. But why ask the question again if he just told you what they can do for the team?
For the audience, I want to make it clear that these are things that both men and women can do to uplift the black community. I don't think it's an argument, it's debatable that black women are keeping their men, or keeping the men from raising the children, from choosing good men. That could be debated. So what can we do, both men and women? Because it's not just a black woman problem. And that's what really rubs me the wrong way about some of the things said in the manosphere, because it always seems to be directed at the women. But if you're the man in the community, what is there a possibility that the men are doing something wrong just as well? Now, I catch on to all of it. It's not like I'm trying to not see the issue, but I just wanted there to be fairness. So
you mean 17%?
Wait, hold on, Nate. Hold on, my bad, Nate. Let her finish. Let her finish, because I'm doing this as a teachable moment. I didn't interrupt because I wanted everybody to see something. Go ahead, finish it.
I was done.
17%, ma'am. See, you're back on the black men thing again. Black men largely aren't causing these problems. a small group of black men. Now, if you want decent black men to go fix these dysfunctional black men, you should say that. You're going to get a resounding no from 99% of these guys. But if that's what you want, you should say it. But I personally have no interest in going and fixing anybody.
I would say that.
If you actually seriously want to fix things in the context that it sounds like you're talking about wanting to fix it, I mean, it sounds fairly simple. The the women in question, yes, they would need to obviously get on board with the men who are upright and doing the right thing. That's just simple to it. I mean, a woman's role, if she's community minded, her role mostly is to raise the children of the community, which means that obviously her first number one primary job is being with the right man and doing that with the right man. Now we're in this world, this deregulated market. Everybody's free, can do what they want, how they want, when they want it, and so making bad choices when it comes to that is catastrophic. Like we obviously know and understand that. So when you're talking about what can the men do, like just a woman, particularly an average woman, should just be asking herself a very simple question: of those men that were discussed, the 50% of men who are childless, you know, they not out there serial impregnating. Most of them are employed men. Can you get on board? Like these men are not just kicking away women who coming in feminine, submissive, want to cook dinner and have sex with them. I mean, they're not just drop kicking you at the door.
They need to be choosing good women too. Those 51%.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
That's kind of how do they choose good women, and how do the women choose good men when we really not even being raised in good environments in the first place? That's kind of
and then it circles back to the why. It does circle back to the why. Go ahead, Nigerian Flex. I said everything I said in the beginning. I'm letting y'all have it. I ran out of spit.
Because it's not her question. Okay, I'm gonna start this off by saying respectfully, her question isn't being asked for the purpose of finding a solution. She's doing what most women do, which is just ask the question to create the conversation, to have more conversation, and to go in circles. He already explained the solution. There's no point in going over the solution again. Now, excuse me. One thing that I do not like. So I'm 33. I was old enough to see when we didn't have participation trophies. The whole everybody gets a share in the win. What'd you say?
I said I remember those days. Yeah.
Right. Everybody gets a share in the winning. Everybody gets a share in the blame. Everybody gets a share, all inclusivity. Right. I'm also old enough to remember when, if you won, it was your fault. If you lost, it was your fault. What we're saying here is we are losing, and there is blame to be placed on a particular section of the community. Not because there isn't blame on the other side, but it's because the side that keeps getting brought back into the conversation is the side that's always been there. Men, period. Am I lying? Color Purple, am I lying?
No.
Fresh Prince, am I lying? He had I just watched Fresh Prince I got HBO Max, just real quick story, just got HBO Max, watched Fresh Prince front to back. One thing I noticed in Fresh Prince was that the dad who was the attorney.
You talking about the new series or the TV show?
Old series.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry. If I'm saying Bel Air, if I'm saying a new series, I'm gonna say Bel Air. I'm gonna call it what it is.
Oh, okay, got it.
So in the new series, in the old series, he was an attorney, very accomplished, well-mannered, all these things. When it came time for his daughters to date, and he tried to step in, the wife stepped in against him. There was one particular episode where he's like, Ashley, be home at this time. She didn't come home at this time. He got mad at her. She ran away. She popped up at the end singing RESPECT. Right? The man of the household who was accomplished, the best person to vet, is the very person who was demonized at the end of the episode, right?
Mhm.
So it's not that men don't have a share in the blame. It's that every time we try to say, look over there, you single women keep picking the same people, which I'm going to go into the whole hypergamy thing real quick or after this. You women who keep picking the same men and keep pushing the men who are qualified to speak on this out. Anytime we highlight that something is wrong, you all of a sudden want to say, well, you guys suck too.
Hmm.
So here's the thing. If you want a solution, and this is going back to why I stopped a little bit Nick, at the beginning when I said I wanted to show a teachable moment. If you want a solution, don't ask a rhetorical question. Well, what can men do? You state the solution from the beginning. This is what I think you guys can do. That will show us that you're not gaslighting us and that you really do want to have a solution instead of a conversation. We've had too many conversations that lead to nowhere.
And that's why I want to get to the solution. What can we both do? Because conversations like these are being had all over the internet. And are we really getting somewhere, or are we just debating just to get an aha moment, or just to be right? But
Well,
what
I
are we
think
doing as men?
you had a lot of aha moments, and then when we talked more, we later found out that you knew exactly what we were talking about and getting at it because it played out in your
Well, I mean,
personal life. So it's almost like you can't say, well, what are we debating for? Well, we're debating because you made that comment, taking it back to the beginning, you made that comment where you said a lot of things, but even in your own personal life, it was revealed that you know that it's far more nuance to that. Now you have backed up and sort of copped a plea on some of it, and when somebody cops a plea, I let them go free. I don't I'm not gonna beat somebody up if they try to cop a plea or change their position under scrutiny. I don't. I'm not gonna do that. But overall, a lot of this stuff you generally know the answers to. You maybe didn't know the facts and data and stats behind it and all of that, but it's like you generally know what we're talking about, and that's where hence the gaslighting comes in and everything. One thing that I do want to do that I want to throw into the conversation. This was a clip from Kevin Samuels' show that I took, and I don't got the video of it. It's just the audio of it, and I think this crystallizes a lot of the problem. And so I do want to get the panel reaction to this. And so now we got Pablo down there. I'm keeping the panel tight. Yeah, I'm keeping the panel tight. I ain't trying to have too many folks up here today. But Joe, so give me a second on that. But I want to play this clip, then want to get the general reaction to it, because I think this is a part of the problem if we're talking about just the pathology of a lot of women and how a lot of women are thinking nowadays. I don't think they think like this when they get older, when they get, but a lot of them do operate in this mindset.
Your grandmother, your great grandmother actually could work with a black man with more trauma.
Because they understood that the black woman and the black man are on the same side. Now that we're all free and independent and we could do whatever we want to, why would we seek to, be one with the black man? We even think that being...
Thank you. Clip it, slice it, put it on World Star.
I think that's a lot of the problem if you're talking about the people why they why it don't work out. Like what was described right there, that was the modern woman who wants her freedom, wants to do what you want to do, want to live her life. She don't have to be on they don't have to be on board. It's either like they could, if they're smart and talented or intelligent or get some type of education, they can go and make some money and live, put a roof over their head, have running water, electricity without a man.
And Bernard,
if they're not capable, if they're not capable of doing that, well, then guess what? There's social safety nets to fall back on to where they can still live without a man. Like, so we got a whole few generations in of women who, yeah, they like a man, but they don't need a man. So they're not operating like women who actually have a need for it. It's just if I get it, if I like it, I want it. Okay, I got it, I like it. I'm tired of it. I can move on. I can do this. So that's how a lot of people are operating. And the fact that the women are filing the divorces, the fact that you admitted that every relationship you've been in, you was the one that broke up with them. It's like, yeah, women are in a place where they just
own
flat
lived
out
experience.
do not need men. But when they get diminishing returns, then they got to write comments like the one that you wrote that prompted this show. And then you expose in this conversation that, you know, a good percentage of what you were saying was technically bullshit.
I will say this: there was a lot of gaslit comments in your show. You said that they're hustling men they're hustling us. I
No,
didn't
no,
feel
no, no,
like
no, 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 no. I didn't. I
that.
wasn't saying they hustling us. They hustling us. I was just pointing out what she described is a modern female hustle. If two people living together, not married, and she just on that. Well, you the man, you supposed to provide, but she's still being a modern chick. She working. She got her job. She got her own money that she do her own thing with. But you the one doing all the. You know, your money is the house money. Her money is her money. That's a situation. That's some stuff that women do. They
And
do
I
get with a
acknowledge
man.
that.
They do get with a man that's paying bills while they will half-ass work part-time and go to school and then level up and be able to do what the chick was talking about. So yeah, that's something that men do need to watch out for if they get into a relationship with a chick. If they're gonna do that, they do need to pay attention to that. And I was basically saying that if you a man, you working, is your house, that's your castle. She gonna still be working. That money needs to be benefiting your kingdom if she's going to
And
be living in your castle. That was just me giving advice to men that, hey, if you're going to be in a relationship with a modern chick, don't watch out for that potential exit strategy that she may have if she's benefiting, building herself up, doing in her own way while y'all are supposed to be together. That was all I was saying. I wasn't just saying, oh, they have to take our money. No, I don't
that's what
believe
the
that.
woman said. The woman said in the video, are we just providing so we can keep our money and leave? No one's telling men to provide just so we can leave out of the relationship. And that's kind of where I went into this, that, my comment. So I didn't necessarily mean it to be like nasty, but more so like,
Yeah,
this is how I
you
feel.
said
This is
you said a whole hell of a lot. You said a whole hell of a lot.
But
is
the
what.
But
overwhelming majority of the time, it is the woman that leaves.
And so the question, if majority of the time the woman that leaves, you can't put all that blame on the woman. There has to be a problem with the men for all that women leave.
No, well, there's either a problem with the men or the women have been conditioned to think that traditional characteristics in a man is a problem.
Are
Which
most of
is
those
it?
are men traditional these days?
There are way more traditional men than traditional
how
women.
can
I
him how
disagree.
wait, time out, time out, time out, time out. How is a man not traditional?
Do they act traditional? Are they going into relationships where they're assuming most of the financial responsibility? Are they providing?
Do they have a job, and are they paying 100% of their bills prior to getting with that woman?
And also, is this the kind of man that you got with because his fit was fly and he has tattoos on his face? Or is this an actual man that you could be actually planning a future with? Because the guys that many of you like, there's nothing about them that says building a future from the jump.
I agree. I agree with that. I agree. The women do go after sometimes they do go after the wrong type of men, or after the thug type men who are just not high value.
And if they
Don't
weren't
listen to these Negroes,
this,
sis. Don't
this
listen
wouldn't
to
be
them.
that big of a problem. God damn it.
I'm gonna Francesca, that's your name?
Yes.
Girl, don't listen to these Negroes. They don't know what they talking about.
Nah, I forgot what my question
They
was.
talk.
Did I throw
really,
a question out there that she didn't answer?
I'm gonna agree with. I'm leaning towards you, Francesca. Look, they don't know what they talk about. Okay, you said something about a team, right? You said we're a team, right?
Right.
Okay, and I agree with that. We're a team. So, in your ideal relationship situation, if you're married and you and I, let's pretend it's you and I, and we're a team, right? We are partners. Isn't that how you would like it to be? Equal partnership? Well, how would you like it to be? You tell me how you like it.
I will say that I'm aware that in a relationship where a man has a lot of financial control, you're gonna have to
No,
pay.
I want you to tell me how you want it. How do you
I
want
would want it to where a man is the head of the household, and I support that. I'm right behind that. I don't
it?
really.
So, are you working at all during this while you're having children? Are you keeping
Um,
a job or anything?
I
Or
would
no?
I would ideally want to work or have a hobby or part-time job where I'm having and raising children. I wouldn't just be a stay-home mom. I would want to have something else to occupy myself with. But yeah.
Okay, can I ask a question real quick, Pablo?
Well, wait a minute.
Let me see where Pablo
If it's
going.
gonna
Hurry
be
up.
if it's gonna be a situation where we partners, then I mean, you got to contribute with a partner. With a partner, it's more of a 50-50 kind of a shared obligation kind of a thing, right?
I think some relationships can be 80-20 in some areas, like some businesses. You have some business, you have a business that might provide 80% of the financial, and this person provides 20% of the brain. So, or, somewhat it levels out somewhere. So maybe.
Okay, so now let's say I'm 80 and you're 20.
And now what facet? Am I in a facet?
I'm talking about financially. I'm 80
okay,
and you're 20 of whatever 20 you're given of the finances.
Mm-hmm.
Is that okay with you?
That would be okay with me.
And what about the child rearing? How much of the child rearing am I doing versus you?
I would want to be hands-on in the child rearing. So it would be more so. I would want you to have some doings in the child, but
right. But majority.
But I would say
the majority is the mother, right? So that's majority of the child rearing is going to be you, while I'm out earning the 80%, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now,
She made a claim in her comment where she said that they got to pay 50% of the bill, but do 100% of the housework and raising and rearing of the children. We know for a fact that ain't true. Women do more of the housework and more of the handling with the children, but men work more hours on average. So it balances out. She does more work at home. The man does more work outside of the home, and that's generally how it
fair
works.
Enough.
What?
So wait a minute. I'm getting to what I'm getting to.
Go ahead. I'm trying to see where you're going.
It goes bump in the night. We're lying in bed and we hear a noise. Who's going downstairs to check it?
You.
Right. So I'm taking most of the financial risk and most of the physical risk in providing for and protecting my family. I get most of the say.
I agree.
The way I want things comes first. Because I am not only risking my financial life, I'm risking my physical life as well.
And when you do that, if things don't go wrong, if things fall apart, you can actually blame the man, and you're correct.
I was just about to say, my dad told me a long time ago when he talked to a marriage counselor, that was something that they said. There was a disagreement between the man and the woman. You always go with the man's decision, but it's that man's responsibility to get you out of whatever if it fails.
Exactly.
So,
and your mother, in short, you said it was a team. Well, a team got to have a head coach. Your mother didn't want your dad. She didn't want to follow the head coach. She wanted a partnership. She wanted a partner. Wait a minute. She wanted a partnership, which is what she got.
And then a partnership with another one. Well, I ain't trying to bring that up.
Right. And a lot of women, a lot of black women, and let's be honest, black women, you are one. Most of them don't want a head coach. They want a partner.
And that could be where the confusion is, because if you are with a man and he is assuming most of the financial responsibility and physical responsibility, then you do have to play by his rules, and there might be a level.
Well, if that was the case, we wouldn't have all these women on KS and in these other places saying I left my man because he was too controlling.
I think they don't want raised in households where they never had a man, so they don't understand the dynamic of how it works. If
Yeah,
they
I
So
already
then how
broke
can you
down
blame
my.
men for leaving when they don't want the leadership? They don't want it. They don't Black women don't want the leadership. The men aren't leaving, they don't want to be led.
I kind of argue you probably have men that want to lead and you have women that don't want to follow. I think it's a little bit of both. To
Well,
put
when
the
you
blame.
don't want a leader, what kind of man do you usually pick? One that doesn't lead.
One that you can control, one that you can kick out of your apartment, one that you can tell no when he wants to borrow your car. You see, the guys that I associate myself with in this space, they're the kind of guys that have built a world they can invite a woman into if they happen to come across a woman worthy of it. Every dude I know, every dude that usually appears on my platform are professional men who have homes. They've shown their homes, they travel. I'm sorry that the narrative that there's all these dusties out there, that all the stats speak against that. The Institute for Family Studies has research out showing that 1 out of 5 Black men is in the upper class, and 64% of Black men are in the middle class. That's, again, overwhelming majority of men who are productive and at the very least handling their business in the marketplace.
That what you're saying speaks to my question when she was trying to say that men are not traditional. I was trying to get an answer to what are they doing that's not traditional. Like we can clearly
They're
identify what
having
women are doing.
creating
We can
children
clearly
out of wedlock.
identify what women are doing that's not traditional. But in order for a man to be not traditional, he's a man who basically has to be saying, "I want to be." He, I want you to define that. That's what I want you to define. We got Nigerian flicks coming up because they try to equalize what they're trying to say. Modern women, modern men, blah blah blah. They try to equalize the concept of what a modern man is to what a modern woman is. But if you look at what happened, the man is essentially doing what he's always been doing. The woman has essentially, abandoned the post as far as I could see it. He's not turning away a woman into his life, a working man. He's not turning away that woman. He's not saying this woman who I want to have a family with. He's not kicking her away. He's not pushing her out. He's not divorcing her. He's not doing that. It's the women that's
I think it's how women are being treated in relationship with men. Whether they feel like they're taking a lot of the financial responsibility, they're doing a lot of the housework and child caring. I think that
okay. So let me. I guess it's the best way to say what I'm trying to say. The traditional man, the traditional man from back in the day. What did he do different? What did what,
well,
what, what did what did he have that the so-called modern man doesn't have?
I think
Now,
you can
answer that question. What did he have?
just how they date. Just let's go simply how they date. These days, how men approach you is very disrespectful. We put a lot of most of our dating options are online. Your men sexualize you. Like going on a date in paying for it these days, they'll argue about. Some men will argue about that.
All right.
They don't feel inclined to treat women respectfully. That's what I would say it starts. And then also you have men that when they start dating, some men don't even have a job, they don't have a car, or they're just really not in the right space mentally or physically or financially to be dating in general. And I think
the
that
simple point that I'm making is all the traditional men had. And I was trying to get you to say it, but you didn't go down that route. The traditional man, only thing he had, he just was a regular dude with a job. He was a regular dude with a job. He paid bills. A woman saw a regular dude with a job who was paying bills, and she got on board and submitted to that man and did whatever she had to do. They weren't rich. It was a lot of sacrifice, but she understood the importance of family and being with that man. Man, she got with him. She stayed with him. That was essentially what it was. These men weren't rocket scientists. They weren't six-figure earners. They weren't engineers. They were just regular dudes who worked at a factory.
But women didn't have
that's the simple point that I'm making. Before, women used to get on board with just a man with a job and used to stick by his side. Nowadays, I want to do something different, but so you can't look at modern men adjusting to that environment and say that, oh, well, look at how modern men are acting and what they are doing. when the whole movement and the feminist movement, yeah, women essentially abandoned the post. Men didn't stop working regular jobs and paying regular bills. It got to a point where a man working regular jobs and paying regular bills was not that valuable when you got to the point when you got, full freedom and rights and all the liberties and everything, and you were able to essentially do that same thing by yourself. Now he wasn't as valuable, so now you would rather be a free modern woman, do whatever you want to do, how you want to do it. So you can't say, well, what about these men? Well, they didn't exactly abandon the post. They didn't leave. They didn't go anywhere. They're still there. They're still men. So that's the simple just point that I'm making. Nigeria's Flex, thank you for that super chat. I'll bring you back up real quick, but I'm feeling a draft in here. We got Hurricane Edward about to come through. So I'm gonna pass the mic to Ed. Go ahead, you got the floor.
No, I was just amusing myself in the back chat, since you had me back there, But look, I'm not about to start wilding out. I mean, this has been a great conversation. Appreciate the audience. I appreciate you coming up here, and I appreciate your candor as well, especially with that situation you want to go deeper into. I just appreciate you even bringing that up. So I won't even talk about that. My question I'm gonna ask you is this. This is a simple one. This may be a couple of questions. And answer them however you want to answer them. Who do you think? Do you believe that women choose the father for their children?
Do I believe that women choose the father of their children?
Yes.
Indirectly, no.
I mean, okay. I would like. I'm curious as to why you say it that way.
I mean, if you find out you're pregnant and it wasn't intentional, that's one thing. But to actually go out, do I believe that women that are sleeping with men that they want to marry? No. Do I feel like they are intentionally having kids with men that they see as husbands? No. But indirectly, they are making babies with men who are not marriage material.
Correct me if I'm wrong. So are you saying that when women are having sex with men, if I look at the top 5 things, or we'll say 5 things that women are looking for in that interaction, fatherhood is not on their mind? Is that fair to say that? Hold on a little bit, Nate. Is that fair? Is what you're trying to say?
You're saying that when women choose their mates or they're sleeping with their mates, do they look at father?
No, I'm just saying in the interactions that you just said, that like when they're sleeping with these guys, that they're not thinking about him being a husband or him being a father. Is that what you're saying, or did I get that wrong?
Possibly not. They're just I guess the mind frame, wanting to do whatever they want, wanting to live free, wanting to be modern.
So this is why I asked that question. There's a lot of popular videos where people will give street info. Well, it's a question that I ask, but people will ask women, black women everywhere, on the street, what do you look for in a man? And when you ask women this on the street or in general, they tend to have a pretty similar answer to that question. I want a good man. I want a man that's God-fearing. I want a man that but has a vision, a man of this. And then if dudes start to look at what is their sexual history, aka the men they have chose, a lot of times if they have these outcomes that we've been having these conversations, they don't reflect that. Now I know, yeah.
You're saying that we don't have these conversations, like we don't reflect these conversations.
Well, what I'm saying is the women, the dudes that they're sleeping with don't reflect. When you ask a woman, a black woman, what type of guy do you look for? And they start spitting it off. Like, what is your experience when a woman is asked what they want in a man? What is your experience that women ask based on you being a woman, you having female friends and all of that? What do they typically say?
All dark and handsome, rich, whatever other accolades, but those seem to be, whether he's attractive, does he have money, his establishment, his job.
Okay, well that's a more honest answer. Like, I know you. Yes, that's a more honest answer as far as being honest about it. But maybe it's because I'm 35, I'm a millennial. They don't answer it that way. They answer, they want a God-fearing man, and I'm not like out of the church or anything. They get up all this what the answer's supposed to
Why are
be.
you talking about 35-year-old women or
Well,
what?
I'm talking about like when I was 25, when I was younger in that
Oh,
age
okay.
group 10 years ago. Like, let's reverse the clock. I mean, you're only a couple years older than me, man. They wouldn't say it that directly like that because they wouldn't want to be perceived as like shallow and everything. This is a different time now because I know you're like a bleeding edge millennial, closer to a Z. So they might be a
But
little bit more
Edward,
vocal with that.
there's the answer they give to the public, and on panels, then there's the answer that they'll give to their
Yeah.
girlfriend. Two completely different answers.
Yeah,
Well,
that's what my point was. So here's the thing: like this conversation has actually progressed in a very good direction. At the end of the day, though, the one thing I want to communicate is I want to make sure this don't get lost in the sauce. If you don't listen to nothing on this panel, hear this: the women that are older than you do not have your best interest at heart. The women that are 10 years, they're 40, 30, like 35, you are a competitor. And misery loves company. And I don't care. I'm gonna keep it real with you. I don't care if you date white men. Like, let's assume you don't date black men at all. This
I'm
is still true
segueing.
what I'm saying. This is still true what I'm saying. So when I hear a lot of what you're saying, I almost can kind of see what is it that you're saying based on women that are your friends, and then what is it that you're getting like on social media. And a big issue in this conversation is dudes have no problem having these conversations with women. We'll put all the cards on the table. We'll have the debate. A lot of times on the female side, though, you don't see that. It's only recently in the last maybe year or so, maybe two, that you're starting to see a lot of women being willing to have these conversations that are like content creators, like a man and a woman. For the most part, women, because the views support it and everything, they'll have their own echo chambers thinking what they want to think. And then when a dude even puts a comment in there, they're being told they need to die or some crazy stuff on Twitter or something like that. And then you
Where
ask,
you
like, what,
going, Ed?
huh?
No, never mind. Go ahead. I didn't
No, well, that's
go.
what I'm saying. So anyway, I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna stay on the panel, but I'm gonna leave it at that.
Okay,
See where the
cool.
conversation goes because
All
I'm
right,
not
real
trying to
quick,
absorb
because
it.
we got 780 people in the building. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. But one thing, and shout out to Charles Merchant, he put on the super chat exactly what I was what I was thinking and I couldn't let go of. But I'm kind of falling back, letting y'all talk. But yeah. How do you expect a man to choose a wife from a woman that takes no responsibility for who she opens her legs to? Ed, you asked that question, and I didn't. Well, I mean, I've heard them answer it like that before, but I don't know why. I wasn't expecting it this time when you said, Are you? How did you word that question, Ed? Are
It's
you
a slick
responsible
question.
for
It's do
choosing? Do
you?
you?
It's not about responsibility. It's a
Okay.
do women believe? And usually I ask this directly. Like, do you believe that you choose the father for your children? And it can draw a
Okay.
lot of meanings out. Now,
The
she,
mere the
yeah,
the mere fact that the answer to that question is no, that's very telling, because I keep taking it back to the original comment in everything that you were saying about men not being there, men not being responsible for the families they create, and blah 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 blah. But then when the most important decision a woman can make in that process is the man that she shares her womb with, to even say it's possible that that's not a choice that you're making. Like, it's if you're being genuine and you're being honest, like, you would have to say that th- that's the an obvious choice, that you make, even if you didn't want it. But if you're truly about that life, everything that you said in the comment section, and I mean that, and you want men to be a certain way and black men to operate a certain way, the black men you reproduce with dictate that. The men you reproduce with gives you essentially the community that you end up with. Like, it's no way around that one. So to remove that from the equation, like, that's a big one.
and look, you're not on trial. You really not. I'm not trying to put
Yeah, I
you on
wasn't trying
trial
to take it
here.
there.
But I want to ask this because one of the things that you've been saying, because I have been listening to what you're saying, is what can we do? What can the men do? All of that. So what I want to ask you is so guys like Lil Big Nate, Pablo, and dudes that have like your dad, right? That fought for you and stuff like that. You say that if the men do this, what do you for these guys that ain't shit and keep on basically, we call it shooting up the club? when it comes to nutting in women and getting them pregnant. What is it that you want us to do to these guys or with these guys? Or do you believe we have the ability to stop them doing that?
Right now, I don't think there's really anything that we could do from the people that already made those decisions. But we can start creating families that do, and start with the people around us. You men probably all have.
But you're not responsible for who you get pregnant by.
No.
That's
Time
the
out.
choice.
Time out. I want to move the
All right, go
conversation.
ahead, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I got you. I want to move the conversation past that because that's something you kept bringing up, which is, okay. So we can talk about future guys. I will say on the people that already have done it, because I'll tell you something. Another side question I want to ask you: with you and your friends, because you're 25 years old, right? Okay. Do you all look, you may not be in the right age for this because this is usually like 27, 29-ish. Do you all look at dudes? Is there a certain age that you all look at dudes and y'all wonder about why he doesn't have kids?
Absolutely.
What age is that?
Like older men in their 40s and 50s.
Okay, you're talking about 40s and 50s. So you wouldn't characterize that as like if somebody was like 30s, you're not necessarily thinking that off the gate. It's like 40s and 50s, you're thinking that.
Yeah.
Okay. Because it's been in my experience that, and again, it's been my experience that if dudes are like 30 to 35 and they don't got kids, women are wondering if the dick worked. They may not say it, they may not carry it off, but I've been told it's in the back of their mind, So maybe they gotten smarter.
I've heard women literally say that on the panel, and I hate to bring his name in, and I ain't trying to summon him, but yeah, I heard a chick literally go at Obsidian like that. Basically, you ain't got no kids. It's basically like something ain't right. It can't be that you were a sexually responsible man. No, they see that as a flaw in you that no woman actually wanted to get trapped by you or get knocked up.
And to be fair, that's a form of pre-qualification. That's like a pre-qualification thing that's embedded in kind of female nature. So it's something all women at some age might have. 40s, I would understand that. I would understand a woman saying that at 40s and 50s. But my thing too is the men. Usually, how men in other groups control females when it comes to the womb is through religion. And so this is kind of the program that men set up, and then even Latin men do it. To be fair, you can go to Colombia and the single motherhood rate is like 85%, because we've looked at this throughout countries, and they have a Catholic culture where that can be frowned upon. We know what the Muslims are with Islam. So when you look at like black culture and you look at the black church, it used to be that way in the black church too. And it wasn't the pastor that so much shamed the woman. It would be other women that shamed women. And this is why if you ever talk to a woman that really fell out of the church, one of the things, if you really talk to them, they had a problem with is if they became a single mother, it was what other women thought of them. So they terraformed the church where over time men left the church and now you have what you have, which is the prosperity gospel. My point is this: men cannot, we can't kill these dudes, despite some people.
Hey, we ain't.
We're talking about men. I'm talking about a man suggested that, by the way, not a woman. So we can't legally do that. Here. Okay, I'm not.
I just want to make it very clear.
I know.
I checked out of that whole debate. I figured out people were debating something that I didn't even realize we was debating.
But Bernard, hold on. And I promise I'm not about to sit it out. But I just wanted to let her know, because you said we were fighting these battles in the manosphere. That's how far these battles have gone recently. Where they said that if I could line them up in the street, that's another older dude. Okay, I'll take a knee on that.
Take a knee.
So
we're gonna move on.
Hold on. Okay, I promise I'm off of that. Here's my overall point. Women control sexual access.
It's simple. When it comes to those type of men that operate that way, only you can prevent that forest fire. It's just that simple.
So within sexual access, if the men say these are the guys that are the bad guys, and the women want to sleep with them, we can't stop you from doing that. And that's the point Lil Big Name and Pablo was trying to make. Also, here's another thing I would say. If you notice in the manosphere, we don't really talk about the black manosphere. We don't talk about body count like that. Body count isn't really a
All
big
right,
deal
Eric.
if the person's childless. So my point is, we're not really asking a lot of. We're not asking that you all have to be sexually repressed and you can't do anything. We're just saying not to have the baby. Exercise the morning after pill. I'm not even saying have an abortion because we understand what that does mentally to a female.
All right.
Just use the morning after pill. Have sex with who you want, and when you're ready to get married, be childless.
All
That's
right.
Well,
it.
I gotta push back a little on what Edward's saying there.
Yeah, there's a
'cause-
few things I would push back on that, but
Yeah,
but
Well,
some of
I'm
it.
less conservative than these two. So
understood. It's just that what I want you to realize, and you're a young woman. You know, if you're 25, you're a young woman, and
yeah,
you
still
still
got
have
time.
time. So yeah, you still got a little bit
Listen,
of
I
time
didn't want
to
this
make
to
good
turn into
decisions.
us counseling her. I like to debate the ideas
Oh, we
more
about
than
to have a debate. It's about to happen.
more than we're trying to
Well, I just
help
want to give. I
this
just
in
want to
the,
give.
like I don't. I mean,
Just want to give a little advice.
she
Well,
made
that's
a
the old
ridiculous.
nigga in these dudes. That's
Yeah,
I just
I
want.
don't.
I'm a
That ain't
dad,
what I
man. I'm a
do.
dad. At the
I'm
end.
not.
That ain't what I do here, man. We go after the ideas, not the people. And Nate, you're getting on daddy mode, man.
I know,
But
man. I
dial it
know.
back, dial it back.
Yeah.
I'll dial it back. I'll
Yeah,
dial
you
it
should
All right,
charge by the hour.
back.
all right, we got somebody else on the panel, so and I brought her up because Francesca probably feel like she's getting jumped, even though But so anyway, Brenda Muema.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, there you go.
all right, all right. Welcome to the show. Go ahead, you have the floor. You have
Thank
the
you.
mic.
Yes. Thank you so much. I actually been I just tuned in, not actually ever since the chart started, like I would say 2 hours ago. And I've been
Okay.
listening in. And Francesca, unfortunately, what you're saying, whenever it comes to these debates, the guys are going to be a little bit more accurate due to the fact that they bring facts. And so I'm 26 years old and I'm childless. I am in a committed relationship, but exactly what they're saying, I'm going to be on their side on this aspect of what I know is if we bring a child into this world, we're giving the man the highest honor. So if we're giving them the highest honor without even actually playing the game, then it's our fault. We're at a loss at all time. And more so now, although we're trying to get, the other party to be responsible, at the end of the day, we're the ones who are in control of the womb, right? So whenever it comes to if you're deciding to lay down with this person, our decisions is actually if we end up having a kid and they're deadbeat, that's our fault, period. And so if women, in my opinion, if they understand that, maybe they will slow down. Maybe they will try to get, that morning after pill or anything like that. I work in the healthcare. Okay. So one thing I always advocated is being sexually responsible. But if we're not actually giving that, if we're not pointing the light to women, and we're trying to always say, what are the men going to do? They should be responsible. They should be responsible. That's where we actually always keep on losing these debates. So accountability is our kryptonite as women. However, if we were to actually, at the bottom line, say, okay, it's our fault as women. We're the one who we're out of order because we think that we know better. But at the end of the day, men are logical creatures. We rule with emotions. That's how God created us. And so, in my opinion, due to the fatherlessness in our community, sometimes that's actually the hardest conversation to have because I'm fortunate to have a dad. I'm fortunate to have my dad has been in my life. My mom is still married to him. But I realized if it wasn't for my dad, my decisions will be skewed, like with men. And so I realized, oh, that's it. That's it. My dad is the answer because he will help me to discern, especially whenever it comes to spirit of discernment. Women, we sometimes don't know. So we need somebody who knows us and to help us pick these men, etc.
I agree with that as far as childbirthing is concerned. But what happens in a situation where you don't have that man to give you that discernment? And I don't want to come off as advocating for the women that have
you're
children
fine.
out of wedlock as if, you know, it's none of their
Yeah.
fault. But the same way that there's consequences, they're their actions, there's also consequences to the man's actions as well, whether it's 17% or more, they have to pay consequences as well too. So even, I guess what I'm learning is that there is a small population of men actually going out and impregnating these women. But my whole argument was, why are we not holding these men accountable too? Because they're also the
How have they not? How have they not been held
The court.
accountable?
because they're not taking care of their children. That's why
We go
if the
to the
child,
court.
if the
That's
child,
why the system has
Are you
been there.
saying that they don't face any penalty for not doing that?
they do, and
I
that's
mean,
the
they
thing.
get on
But not
child
being in
support.
the
They don't
home,
pay it. If they get on
They go to
if
jail.
they don't take care of their kids, they get put on child support. They don't pay the child support. They go to jail.
well,
Like
excuse
that's
me,
like so society so they face social stigma from it and legal.
Well, I want her to
So
get it all out, and then I know it's your show, Bernard. Let me be clear, but we can break it down because I want her to get it out. Because this is one thing I do want her to feel like is she's being heard.
What?
Because a lot of times people don't feel. I know you've been on here for a minute, so I want you to get it out, and then we could. Because I really want you to hear what you got to say.
Man, y'all be trying to get us clipped.
Real quick, madam. I just want to say this real quick. Something I say on my show often is we have so many black women who will date Chief Keef, and then once Chief Keef gets them pregnant, they'll want Chief Keef to become Heathcliff Huxtable, and it doesn't work like that. It just doesn't.
Yeah, and what I want to know, because I don't know if she's aware of the consequences that they have. That's why I wanted her to say what she had to say, because I think
the
consequences that men get. You know, that's why she's saying they need to be held accountable.
Yeah, because I feel like the consequences of a man being absent from the home is that he does not provide that guidance for a woman to choose her mate. Because if you're being raised in a home where you have a loving father and he's putting you up on game on what men to choose, then you're more likely to come out successful versus someone who doesn't. So I guess the whole what I want to do, or I want to talk about, is how can we as a community help solve that? And I guess what we're trying to, I guess what we're saying is that the black women are in charge of that. We're the ones kicking the fathers out of their homes, and because I guess those are people. I guess the fathers that we're kicking out of the homes are the leaders.
Well, have you ever heard the phrase "I wanted the baby, but not the man"?
Mm.
I'm asking because you're 25.
I've never really heard that.
Have you ever heard the phrase "sperm donor"?
Yes.
Okay, so it depends. So the reason why I say that is, let's start with the easy stuff. If a man doesn't generate, like we always use these numbers, like 25% of black men make $50,000 or more. Or we'll talk about, in the high value man conversation, who's making six. The point is, what doesn't get said in that is there's a X amount or percentage of black men that are employed. Every black man is not employed. So like if you have dudes, so the dudes that you're talking about where they kind of escape of accountability in the way you're saying it, they have nothing to lose anyway. So like for instance, the guys that mentioned it, Ayanna Van Zam, they had all those kids, like those situations, they're not employed. So like when you're employed, you usually have a license. You usually they can take your money out of your bank account. When you're dealing with street money, cash, or you dealing with, let's say, D-boys, and I'm not talking about say that's what they all are doing, but women will openly say they deal with D-boys. We know D-boys ain't always got the most money. My problem is they're not dealing with the systems that the government can actually access in order to take stuff, passport, license, nowhere, have an actual address to come get your ass to put you in jail, because technically going to jail for child support should be unconstitutional because it's debtor's prison, whatever. My point is that a lot of those guys, there's a reason they don't get held accountable. And another thing too is when we mention the multiple women that are having kids with one dude, because you said that this one dude can shoot up multiple clubs because it takes 9 months for somebody to get pregnant. Where is the women? The women control sexual access, because if they don't, if you breach their sexual access, we know what word that's called. I will not say it, and we know ain't nobody on that. Take Sierra for example. I just got to go here. Sierra got Russell Wilson. Happy for her. But the truth is, with Future, she signed up to be baby mama number what, 4?
I thought it was like 8 or 9
No,
or
it wasn't. No,
something.
he did that after. To be fair to Sierra, no, he got all them kids after the fact. But
Okay.
you look at who Sierra is, who she is, her attractiveness, gravitas, and yet she could have had sex with Future. Like Lori Harvey, she's more close to your age. She deals with these guys, she's not pregnant. Steve Harvey. And by the way, Marjorie is a perfect example. She was dealing with a D-boy that was on the top 10 most wanted list of the FBI. But she was attractive enough that Steve Harvey got his money later on and helped her and raised her stepdaughter. And you can see that reflected in Lori Harvey, ultimately to Larry Harvey being who she is right now and Michael B. Jordan. The point is, at some point, the women are going to have to take control of their wombs and say who they're going to deal with and not. And here's the thing. Even if you have fun with these guys, there's a difference between having fun with these guys and having their child. So that accountability you're talking about can only really come from the woman, because the government, child support used to not always be this bad. Bill Clinton changed the laws and basically switched it to the burden of the financial part isn't on the state, it is on the men. So we are actually dealing with what you call draconian laws when it comes to holding men accountable. But here's the problem. Those men have to have something to take. So at the very least, the women can't be having kids by dudes that have nothing to lose. We can start there. Now, you can sleep with them if you must, but don't have their kid. And that's where the thing is. So what people are looking for is the men. I get what you're looking for. I get it. You're looking for like an authoritarian thing to just come in and just sweep it away and create the structure. But that's the problem. We don't live in an authoritarian country.
All right.
That's the issue.
I do. Shout out to the Crimson Cure in the building. She says, "Thank you for having these conversations." Absolutely. Shout out to everybody who's been supporting the stream. I've been horrible with reading the super chats. I didn't want to interrupt the flow of good conversation, but I do appreciate all the super chats. I will try to make sure I definitely click on all of them. Shout out to Game Changer, who's now in the building. I apologize to people who was in the back that didn't make it up. Oh shoot! Damn it! I didn't even know. All right, okay. Man, this is y'all making it hard on me.
The private chat in its
making
own
it hard
fun.
on me. Oh, there, yeah, it's going down in the private chat too.
Yeah.
But shout out to Game Changer in the building. Go ahead, you got the floor. You got the mic.
Okay, thank you,
guys.
Okay, perfect. Let's see, Francesca. So, the reason why I came up was to speak to you about the whole chivalry thing. That you feel that you were born in the wrong time. That you wish men were more chivalrous from the past. Am I correct in my assessment?
That's correct.
Okay, so I understand that, but I think that the reason that men are not as chivalrous as they were in the past is because the contract was broken. You see, what chivalry is a set of rules and guidelines. At least, what chivalry is as it relates to men on women relationships. It's a set of rules and guidelines for both the men and the women to follow. Now, if one side don't follow these rules, it does lead the other side to exploitation. You do realize that, right?
I can agree with that.
So I think that's why I think what feminism is women throwing out that rule book. They're saying we throw out the rule book of chivalry. We reject chivalry. We reject those rules. And what happened as a result of that, before you were born, was that men eventually started to reject the rules. Like, you're not going to buy a woman a drink, as a courtesy if you're interested in a lady. If she behaves like a thought and she just drinks the drink and not entertain you any longer. So you can't play by the rules against someone who is breaking the rules. And that's why chivalry ended. Chivalry ended with feminism. So once that's reversed, it will be gradual. But once feminism ends, it will be gradual, but men will revert back to those ways.
I get your point. I just feel like, so why do traditional men approach women in a sexual way? Like,
because no, I get it. And that's because that's how women, that's the only approach that they respect. See, you can't have a culture where women tout that hookup culture or hoe phase or WAP, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and then expect men to approach them in a chivalrous way. Like
Correct.
that would be ridiculous. Like the same for the same reason that men do not wear, suits with the puffy ties, walk around with the powdered wigs on, and slap people with white gloves. Like these things have become dated because they're no longer effective.
And women's behavior often dictates how
Amen.
a society of men are going to approach them. Women have abandoned the ideas of virtue and morals. When's the last time you heard modern women and their behavior associated with words like class and virtue? Your great grandmothers were approached in a respectful way. Men took the most expensive part of their outfit, which was the sports coat, laid it over a goddamn puddle so they could walk over it, made sure that the woman walked on the inside of the sidewalk, so a car that came up on the street hit the man and didn't hit the woman. Doors are being opened for you all. That was a different type of woman. That wasn't a free, liberated woman who could get on the internet and run her mouth about all of her sexual exploits. Those were women that were demure, modest. They respected themselves. They, at an early age, were in pursuit of the idea of family. Oftentimes, you couldn't even get access to them if you weren't interested in marrying and starting a family. And their fathers were there to oversee all of this. And women have demanded to get rid of all of that. All of it.
Yeah. Bernard, I'm about to say this and I'm about to hop off to make room for somebody else. Yeah. The short answer is if you look at the history, the real history, I've said it before and I'm gonna say it again. I'm gonna end with actually a solution. The debt that zillennials and see you're like 25, so you're a bleeding edge. So I'm more talking about the ones that are like 15, 16, 17. They go come into it once it's like real. The debt that those females are gonna have to pay. And when I say pay, this is what I mean. I want to be clear about what I'm saying. When he talked about a social contract game changer, the biggest resource, the most valuable and precious resource in relationships is trust. And trust is not a renewable resource at the macro level. And the reality is this stuff did not start. You're coming to really a generations long thing. So the reality is, like as a millennial, I grew up with what's called the girl next door kind of situation, where when you look at the main celebrities and stuff like Brandy, Monica was forced to fit into that, even though that's not really what she was. It reflected a certain version of black women. And then the generation you grew up in, just 10 years behind me, because my youngest brother is 26, they saw the 304 culture, the Nicki Minaj and then everybody trying to chase that. You even got women like Chloe Bailey trying to fit into that, even though it's technically not her. My point is, these guys have been red pilled just by proxy of what they grew up with. It has nothing to do with what they see on YouTube. So they're on the zillennials are on some completely other stuff. So unfortunately, that trust took generations to mess up. And one thing you don't really see in these women conversations is women really asking other women what happened. Now, you got a whole bunch of young dudes saying, fuck these old niggas in our space. Now, I'm not like that is bad, but that happens. It doesn't happen over here. That's the problem. Here's the kind of solution part. What I would say, I said it before, I'm going to say it again. The best thing that's going to help you, luckily you had a dad that really fought for you. And not only did he fight for you, it looks like he won, because they don't always win even though they fight. And so that gave you a good setup. Now is what you need to get between your ears, and you need to get some other women. Lil Big Nate is great, and definitely check him out. Definitely stick around here. But you need to get some other women to have the outcomes that you want based on what you're looking for. Because chivalry is not completely dead. It's just in small subcultures, even in the black community. So, for instance, one person I'll recommend is Shay Sade. She's been on this panel. She's really good. She is married. She is a black woman that wears her hair, all that, not some pretty, and she's very attractive. But another person I recommend is Pink Book Lessons. Crimson Cure is great as well.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, so they agree. Yeah, those are. I'm not gonna go through a whole list. I'm gonna just stick with those three and start there. And usually the algorithm will help you out as far as people that's related to that content. All three of them either are married or were married. All three of them get it. They are women in their own right. Pink Book ain't even technically in the Black Manosphere. Shay Sade is a relatively new channel, and she does her own independent research on everything. So these are not women that are like puppets of what we say. They do their own, and that'll be communicated on them. Another one I'll recommend is TJ Randolph as well, because she's an older woman, and she did it she'll say she did it wrong, but her daughter is married. So she didn't pass those curses to her daughter. And TJ, I actually had a long conversation with her, and she's good too. I'll throw that out there. So check them out, make your own decision, because if you have women that kind of have the outcomes that you want, and they show themselves and stuff, you need to be very clear on what type of guy you're looking for. There's a guy, he calls it the dream girl profile. Somebody needs to come up with the dream guy profile, because once you have an idea of what you want, then you know where to go
I don't
get it.
think she asked you for dating advice.
I'm not giving her dating advice, but when I want, hold on, I'm not saying that. I just want to communicate to her that a lot of times, and I do this more than any of y'all, we do a lot of it's effed up, it's apocalypse. But at the end of the day, you still got the age and all of that. You look like you know how to dress and all of that. You ain't one of these. It's different if you 35, 36, 40, and you trying to ask these same conversations, because this is how we usually get it. They 38, 39 talking like they actually know less than what you know. And then they want to figure it out at 39. So I just wanted to end with that. Man, stop acting like I'm being good today.
No, you are being good, but I don't know. I don't.
Well, it's for the people that say we have no solutions and we have no actual answers other than everything's effed up and the women did it and you have no options. You're done.
Exactly. That's what I want to hear. Like, not just you're ugly, you don't listen, you're around.
But you also need to hear the other stuff too, because you need to hear the context. Because if you don't know what happens, then you wind up in this magical space. And a lot of these folks will have you in this magical stuff, and then you don't figure out it's magic until you 38.
Fair enough. The women you did, describe, I do actually want them to have a higher female higher female following. So recommending them to women is not a bad idea. So I'll
peace
go
out,
with
y'all.
that.
Right.
Yeah, all right, peace.
And also,
Real
one thing
quick,
I'll say about
grown man Ben, hold on, real quick. Grown man Ben is in the building. He says, "Ask these women what's a good man, and they will simply describe a slave." Hashtag men first. Shout out to Grown Man Business. We may put that question on the table. I didn't plan on going this long, but I didn't want to end the stream on this many damn views either, because it turned into a good one. But Brenda, damn it, I forgot how to say that last name.
That's okay.
Muema. Is that like French?
Actually, it's Kenyan. I'm actually originally from Kenya, but I grew up in America.
All right, got
Yes,
you.
sir.
All right, go ahead.
Yes, and so I also will have to comment about chivalry. Yes, women killed it. That's what my significant other currently told me. I was like, no, we didn't. It's like, yes, yeah, I did. Feminist movement, third, fourth wave feminist movement. But one thing I have figured out, as women, because we are privileged with great education now, we are smarter than we are. One thing, as the men were saying, we can use whatever it's in between our ears, our brains. However, sometimes I think we tend to want to logic everything, because I am that type of person. I analyze. I don't want to feel emotions until I had to, so that I can rest in my feminine energy, quote unquote. But one thing I would say, you have to actually train the guy of how you want to be treated. So how do you do that? You actually put him in that atmosphere, in that environment.
You said train the guy of how you want to be treated. That's
yes,
a horrible.
I know.
That's a horrible statement.
Horrible word.
I can't let that one. I can't let that one ride. You trying to train?
Right.
You trying to train men?
We can't train,
hold on
because
now.
training is like training a dog. No, we don't want to train, but we want to appreciate their effort, right? But we also want to. How about action? Because men are really great with actions. You just express what you want. Sometimes they're not gonna do it. Let me just be honest, because this guy that I'm like, he makes sure that I know where I belong. Anyway,
you came in with that. You had the sexy last name, a little accent, all of that, sitting there looking like what's that Game Changer? What's that chick you like? Oh no, she don't look like her. Yeah, yeah. So from far away, she looked like Chloe Bailey from far away. They was feeling you. The fellas was feeling you. Then you just
Right.
slipped
I
up and
changed
said, "Well, we gotta
the train.
train these men how we need to be trained." Gone, done.
Oh no,
You over.
I am a devil's advocate. I will go
We
back and
throwing.
forth.
Nope. You've already been thrown to the wolves. You're done.
All right.
It's over. All
But
right,
put them in the right environment. I am a lady now. I don't open my doors because I used to be that strong, independent woman, but I was like interdependence.
until
Actually,
you
that's what we should be
then you
striving
trained
for.
them. Then you
So
trained them how to treat you. All right, Dr. Thunder in the building.
he will
Go.
kill me if he ever sees this life.
They always slip, don't they?
Yep.
Yes. Hey, look, let me use the woman card. We always slip. So, but I will take accountability and no, we're not supposed to be training y'all like dogs. Y'all already know what y'all need to be doing.
So,
Y'all are the right ones.
But
hey,
wait, no, I want to pass it to Dr. Thunder. We might wrap this thing up pretty soon, man. I appreciate the views. This was definitely a great show. I didn't anticipate all this. I thought it was actually going to be a short show. We was going to go over the comment that she dropped in my comment section. I thought we was going to talk about 45 minutes. I was going to briefly open it up, and we was going to be done. I thought we was going to be done in like an hour and a half tops. So I'm not even going to make it a marathon. But man, I do appreciate the turnout up in here. Do appreciate the turnout up here. It's not my highest views all time, but it's up there. It's in definitely in that top 5 area. But go ahead, Dr. Thunder. You got the flow. You got the mic. But if you're new here, please subscribe. Hit that like button. But go ahead, Dr. Thunder. You got it.
Yeah. Hi, Bernard. Hi, panel. Really good conversation. So I have a solution to this problem, but it's not a solution that will likely be implemented. One issue with these conversations is it seems that we're always kind of talking around the actual solution to the problem. Maybe it's because we don't think it's quote unquote realistic or whatever, but we keep kind of talking around the solution. So in all of the animal kingdom, and we're part of that, by the way, and all of the animal kingdom, the female is always responsible for deciding which genetic material gets to go into the next generation. It's always the female. So, for instance, if you look at birds, a male bird without perfect symmetry and coloring will never procreate. Never. The challenge here is that women are prioritizing swag over substance. So what they're doing is they have found some criteria by which to promote over the criteria that actually matters. And constantly referencing this 16% of men that are impregnating all the women and creating all these out of wedlock births, that doesn't do anything to solve the problem. Women have always controlled access to sex. And so women have to take full responsibility. If they get pregnant, they're the ones that chose who the father is. Okay, now, something that I hear frequently is this thing that, well, they didn't know any better. I don't buy that. I think people do know better. Women do know better, but it is titillating to choose the bad guy. It is more exciting to choose the bad guy. The risky guy is more exciting. And so, because of a lack of discipline and a lack of people in that person's life that their voice is loud enough, present enough to cause them to make a better choice, they just choose what they want to. And we know that the tendency for women, more than men, is to be in the moment. A man will prioritize the long game. They'll be looking down and setting things up for the future. Often is the case that women will prioritize the things that are in the moment. So without that male presence, yes, you're going to have this problem. But I'll tell you that the actual solution to the problem is, number one, better mate selection by the females, and abstinence.
Uh-oh. All right. We gotta throw you to the wolves too. You can't be talking about no abstinence. All right, so we gotta get you out of here. But
Come on
but
over
no, no. But
But
one
that's
one
the
thing.
actual solution, because anything short of that, you're still going to have issues. And yeah, I mean, all the sort of criticism that the sort of religious zealots and the sort of sexual repressors get, at least you have to admit that if we had done it the way the book suggests, that we'd be in a far better situation. And you don't even have to go all the way to the way the book says. You could even if you just implemented some of what it is suggesting, we'd be in a better situation.
I agree.
All right. Look at the private chat. I sent being discreet, but I sent a message to somebody on the panel to the private chat. Something that I'm trying to get set up. Just check out that private chat. All right.
Can I respond real quick?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, perhaps there's a solution in there, but once again, the contract was broken with feminism, making it very difficult to reestablish the biblical times and the biblical rules, or any rule. It's kind of like a free for all after feminism, because feminism is the absence of rules, at least for the women. Now, I do want to ask Brenda a question. However, Brenda,
of course you do, Game Changer.
Yeah,
I'm just
no, I
playing.
want to ask
I'm
Brenda.
just
Name. Yes, sir.
All right, I'm going to drop down. See you
All right.
later,
All right,
Bernard.
thanks for coming to Dr. Thunder. And and just a little quick
I
advertisement. I'll be on Dr. Thunder's channel on, I believe we got it set for the 28th. So
Yes.
yeah, be on the lookout for that. But thanks, Dr. Thunder. Appreciate you.
So, no, I wanted to say to Brenda, or ask Brenda, what did you gain? You say it's a good thing, the education, we're more educated now. What exactly did women, the plurality of women, particularly Black women, gain from this education?
Well, that's so yes, back in the days, women used to actually go to college to get their MRS instead of their BS, or
I'm aware of that, yes.
right.
Mr.
And now we are just going for of course, right now we are just going for the PhD. So now we think the player hater degree, we think that we know a lot better than men, except I think we acquired too much knowledge to the point that we don't know how to use it. And now we think that we can debate any type of topics, including men's topic. And we are women, mind you, we've never been in a man's position or body of a man, and mix everything in between, from environment, government, etc. The education has confused us as women, let me just be honest. So if we were to actually apply what we have learned, I think we might be able to work with a man, because actually that's what we're not doing. We're not doing that.
Well, yeah, what I'm asking is, I'm assuming that you're educated. What has your educated taught you about working with a man? I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I think most females' education is completely useless. But perhaps you can prove me wrong. Like, is there an exception? Because you were speaking about the education in affirmative earlier. So, I mean, I don't see a plus to it. Let's just make that clear, right?
Yeah, I'll be honest. It's
so
not
the only
just
plus.
Useless. Go ahead. Well, no, I just wanted to say it's not just useless; it's to the detriment of them ever being
Mhm.
able to work with a man.
Mhm.
Yeah, the things
Yes.
most women
Right.
learn in college sets them at variance with a man, sets them at variance with just the natural order of things. I had a friend of mine. I was at
Okay.
a football what is it, Super Bowl party a few years ago, and I met a guy there, and we were talking, and he knew a guy on his job, a white dude, whose daughter first fell in love during her senior year of high school. Right, fell head over heels for this boy, and there was even talk of marriage, but they went to different colleges, so things kind of fell apart. They went their own directions. By the time her sophomore year completed, this was a girl who was allegedly a virgin, on her senior year. She lost to Virginia. This guy head over heels in love with him. By the end of her sophomore year, coming home for the summer, she is a lesbian with a sleeve of tattoos and a septum piercing.
Goddamn.
Yeah, by the end of her sophomore year. Okay.
Mhm.
So yeah, college is to the detriment of a lot of women when it comes to their ability to, fulfill the natural order, of the dynamic between a wife and a husband.
Mhm. I
Big
think it's due
Ike in the
to
building.
freedom.
Hold on, real quick. Big Ike in the building came through, dropping $200 on it. I gotta go digging for. There we go. Shout out.
Calamity fi hit we any moment, what's a pity? Tomorrow never certain. What was behind the curtain? The face of evil. Evil will make advances. Pick up your sword and lances and be sure to take your stances. Victory.
Gotta shout out Ike for sponsoring the show big time like that. Appreciate you, Ike. Go ahead. Go ahead. Whoever was speaking, I forgot. I think that was Brenda. Right.
Yes. So, uh, okay, I have to agree that yes, college education is not as important whenever it comes to building a kingdom with a man. Great. It has enabled us to think, to being strong, independent women who don't need anybody, mind you. But I think going to college definitely has given us that freedom, too much freedom to the point that we don't know how to discern what's good for us. And so that's actually the woman who was madly in love and second year of sophomore, she's a whole lesbian. Why? Too much.
Women's studies.
Yeah, but yep, education. And so now the question becomes, okay, the only way I see education as being very important is actually in the STEM, because I'm in the healthcare field. So I am pursuing professional degree, and it's more of a family line type of thing. But knowing myself, I'm very traditional. I do need a traditional man because my dad is, it's what I see, it's what I want. And I've worked towards that. I know how to cook, clean, I take care of my dad. I take care of my mom. I take care of the whole family. And so I put myself in those positions. So whenever it comes to education, it depends on what the women are going for, other than racking up debt. And I already knew whenever I was coming to any type of relationship, I put that in the front. I'm bringing debt to the table. Like I always say that. I can't even build the table because I'm bringing more debt. So
I advise my daughter.
Yeah, I have to.
Well, very quick, Nate, if I may, you mentioned tradition. So you're still in the process of educating. What's the highest degree that you plan to achieve?
It depends on the man that I'm going to actually marry. But my quote unquote highest degree that I do want to go into is becoming an MD, PhD.
So
yes.
Is your mother a PhD?
They're veterinarians who turned nurses whenever we came to the United States.
I'm
so
sorry.
your plan, so your plan is to get your PhD, marry your PhD, to not use your PhD and have his money from his PhD pay for your PhD.
No,
well,
I'm actually going to pay for it. He already made that straight. If that's ever going to happen.
Wait, right quick, is your mother a PhD?
Yes, might as well say it.
Well, might as well. Is she a PhD?
Yes. So she obtained her DR. She's a veterinarian back in Kenya, along with my dad. My dad was a veterinarian, and then whenever they did that, coming to America, they had to pursue something else, and so which became nursing. So,
Makes
and
sense.
we believe in the highest education. So, she's still even going. She had to pause so that I can take care of the family along with my dad, and then after that, she continues after everybody has moved out the house, type of thing.
And your grandmother, was she a PhD?
Oh, goddamn.
My grandmother was not a PhD. They
How
were
far are you going
teachers,
back, game
actually.
changer? You gonna
They
Well,
were
when you
actually
talk
teachers,
about
but who pursued,
traditions,
etc.
okay, so Bernard, when you talk about tradition, there's pretty much an indefinite thing. You know,
Right.
it's what the mother and mother's mother and mother's mother and mother's mother has done for generations. That would be the tradition. It seems like her mother broke the tradition of, focusing on family versus, education. Not necessarily broke it because she's focused on both apparently, but
Right, yeah. And she
yeah,
knew that ever since she was
yeah.
little. So she knew she will need somebody who understands who
Well,
she
well,
is. And so
what
my
I'm,
dad contributed to her
all
education
right.
too,
what
Real
I'm
quick.
getting
etc.
at is when
Yeah, go
we
ahead.
say that they're traditional, but they're also doctors. That's really like, as untraditional as
Non-tradition?
you get because
Yeah.
most women are not doctors. And I
Okay.
can see you could say that you're traditional, but you do something else. You have a hobby or something like that. But we're talking about something that's going to take up the bulk of your fertile years
Majority of the
in
time.
order to,
Right.
in order to accomplish, and then that's just as a start. So I don't know if the two things really, mix.
All
Well,
right. We
and
about
I
to
think not in
go ahead.
America. It definitely, one thing I have definitely established, especially I do have younger siblings. We collectively said that it's going to be hard to actually dual like the way our parents dual, especially my mother dualed, right? So one thing we realized, we have to have time for everything. So what happens? So in my time frame, the way I kind of imagine, pursue education. If I get the guy and then he wants to marry, then let's go that route. But at the end of the day, I do want to be a mother. I do want, like, I'm going to be the soccer mom, etc. Because I did raise my own sister. I was a
All right.
sister mom, so
All right.
yeah, it depends.
All right.
Do
We
you
about
work,
to go to I'm
Pablo?
sorry.
please? One last question, please.
All right, well, go ahead. Go ahead.
Do you work as hard pursuing a family as you do with your PhD on your PhD?
Yes, because I
What
don't
efforts do
leave.
you what efforts do you put towards securing a family and then
Holy
taking care
shit!
of
Just
that?
you want to keep
Okay.
asking her to give you her eHarmony dating profile. She likes long walks on the beach and foreign films.
No,
Like that.
not necessarily that, Bernard. But if she has an eHarmony dating profile, that would be the effort.
No.
I'm saying what effort does she put towards that versus because like university, especially on the PhD level, takes about maybe 6 to 10 hours a day. So
Right.
I would ask, what do you do 6 to 10 hours a day as far as securing a family?
And so whenever it comes to, I guess, family basics. So I have always, I guess, raised myself to make sure I know what I want. So I had already done this before I even proceeding to, okay, I want to go the MD PhD. So whether it's learning how to cook, I took period ever since I was a teenager to learn how to cook, clean, how to manage a family. I run my whole family's calendars of making sure that everybody runs. So I am a manager for my family. And so whenever it comes to prioritization of a relationship, my man comes first, whatever it is. So that's how I have learned whatever he wants, that's what I do. But yet again, I am also, I'm in the Catholic faith. I do practice Catholicism. So, there is certain structures that I do abide by and continue, etc.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
All right.
it's just,
All
I'm
right.
always in
So
learning mode.
All
yeah,
right.
let me get this
We're
in
gonna
because
pass
my
it to
phone is
Pablo
about
in
to
real
overheat here.
real quick, Pablo. I just want to say, it
Interesting.
seems like the audience clearly liked this show, so I do plan on putting probably. I mean, this was impromptu how it worked out, but I do want to put some more panels together similar to what we got here. That's why I was saying in the back chat, I was trying not to give my playbook out loud with what I plan on doing. But Brenda, hit my email if you're interested in coming on a panel like this before. I want to have a way of contacting you. I'm trying to get together. I mean, not that I'm trying to do some Lapeef network type shit, but I am trying to do some Lapeef network type shit. So I'm trying to collect some emails. So send me an email so I'll have yours if you're interested in participating in some more channels and shows like this. I'm trying to get some things together. I ain't want to give my playbook. That's why I was trying to be discreet, but you ain't never.
Of course, no.
But anyway, all right. So yeah, but go ahead, Pablo. You about to pretty much take us home because we about to get the hell up out of here.
I wanted to bring this home for the ladies. Do you believe female mate selection drives culture?
It does. Has the ability.
Okay. And I'm glad that you said that. I have 2 instances of that, along with sociological case studies that proves that I am correct. And I'm gonna be doing that on my show tonight. Colombian women. How many of you have seen Narcos on Netflix? The series called Narcos. You have?
It's about drugs.
Yes, it's about Pablo Escobar and the narco culture in Colombia during the 90s and early 2000s. Right? So what they don't say is after Pablo Escobar was killed, it didn't just stop. The narco culture and drug trafficking in Colombia did not just stop.
Right.
What did begin to happen is the women in Colombia had enough. And so what they did, they went on a sex strike and they stopped having sex with drug traffickers. Because what had happened is what happened, all of these drug trafficking guys were making all of this money and they were getting rich and they would have harems of women. Lots of single baby mamas, very much like a situation we have in Black America. Lots of single mothers to guys who were into crime and murder and drug trafficking and the whole kit. But what happened was they found out, they came to they looked around and they were like, man, we can't even walk outside without bombs exploding, without gunfire. Their kids couldn't play outside. And so they finally said, we can't do this anymore. And the only way to make them stop, because what had happened, they incentivized more and more men to get into that lifestyle because they wanted women. So what they did, they went on a sex strike in the town of Pereira, Colombia. I'm going to share this with Bernard in his email. I can't share right now because I'm on a different phone here, but it's called, what was it called? The night of the time of the closed legs. You can look up Colombian women's sex strike on Google and this stuff will come up. And so what they did, they went on a sex strike and guess what happened? A lot of the drug trafficking and all of that stuff stopped. Why? Because the demand went down, because the women were no longer interested in men who were in that activity. Large swaths of them who were before were no longer. Now there still are women who into the gangsters and the bad boys, but the majority cut it out.
So women have a lot of influence over the men in our community through sex. And if we withhold sex,
because we control access to sex. So
if you
that's
wanted
exactly what you're saying.
If you wanted Black men to be doctors and not rappers, guess what would happen?
What?
I'm talking about when they're teenagers. If you said, if the 17 and 18-year-old girls and the 25-year-old girls who are IG models said, I want me an engineer and a doctor, and if you're not, I ain't giving you none of this. What do you think is gonna happen? There ain't gonna be no
hopefully. Well, that's the thing. Now my idea is that when women, particularly Black women, that say that we want men like that, we get bashed for saying, well, you don't deserve that. what's wrong with
you
your
haven't,
average
but you
father?
won't. But the problem is,
But
you
only
won't
that.
prove it. You won't prove it by stops. You got too many who won't be willing to prove it by stop sleeping with the other guys.
And it's also madam, it's not bashing. You have to qualify for those types of men, engineers,
I agree,
doctors.
but
You have no,
the
ma'am.
qualifications.
You have to qualify for those men.
What are those
Correct.
qualifications? What are
So,
those
but why is the
qualifications, Nate?
qualification so
I'll give them to
harder
you
on a
real
black
quick.
woman?
What?
You have to be physically fit,
Why, when it
feminine.
comes to black
Hold on,
women?
wait, hold on. Give
go
the
ahead.
qualifications, Nate. Give the qualifications.
Qualifications. I've been saying this ever since I came on panels. Physically fit, feminine, cooperative, convivial, and submissive. If you can pull off those 5 characteristics, you'll write your ticket when it comes to most men. But black women argue against these things. You argue against being physically fit. You argue against being feminine. You argue against being cooperative. The main things that these high caliber men want, you argue against. And in closing, real quick, when it comes to the education, like the other young lady was talking about, imagine if this is what I've advised my daughter to do. I don't know if she's going to do it, but this is what I've advised her. How about black women, like all over the country, after you graduate from high school, don't go to college, go to social, go to debutante training. In the South,
Etiquette training, stuff like that.
black girls used to go to social all throughout the South in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Black girls.
Yeah, my mom was a debutante. My mom was a
Exactly,
debutante.
sir. Now,
I
when
was raised
I'm
in
not
Grove
saying.
Saints, so
Just let me finish real quick. I'm not saying black women don't go to college. Why don't you go learn the social graces, learn how to act and conduct yourself like women? Because one of black women's biggest problems is their behavior. And then by the time you're 22, 23, you get married. And then based off what your husband is trying to accomplish, you go get your degree to assist him. And you two build these empires that you're always talking about. That's a solution. Solution. Stop going off to college. Go get your social training because your mothers aren't doing it. Your mothers aren't teaching you anything. Go learn how to act and conduct yourself like proper women. You'll have almost no problem getting a proper man to become your husband. He should be 8, 10, 15 years your senior. And go to college based off what he's eventually trying to accomplish. Assist him, whether you understand it or not. That's the ultimate design God had for you, to assist a man.
All right.
How many of you consider that?
All right, real quick before
and-
I'm gonna pass it to Francesca because she was the featured guest. And so I will give you some final words on this. You tried to smuggle in some fake news that we lower the bar or the criteria when it comes to white women. That is not as fake news. I guarantee. I guarantee you show me a black dude with a fat white woman. I guarantee he was with. I guarantee he was also with fat black women before he was with her. They're not going from Gabrielle Union to Rosie O'Donnell. They not doing that.
Exactly, but
that ain't what's happening. Ain't no
what
lower
I
bar.
see-
It's the same bar. You'll
bar,
be seeing what
I
you
believe
want to
that
see.
the bar is lifted for black women of color. When black men are with a woman that they preference, they set the bar low. That's why they're with those fat white women, but they'll walk around saying that white women are better.
Hold on, wait, game changer. Hold on, I know where you're gonna go, game changer. Let's get this one real simple. If you look at the percentage of black women that are overweight or obese, then you look at how the majority of black men are with black women, then clearly black men don't have a problem with overweight black women. So you can't have that argument. You can't.
So the argument is that I have to be fit and feminine for a high value man. And I completely agree with that. But compared to other fit and feminine non-black women, I feel like you'll fall short because the bar is lower for them. They'll talk about how black women we have bad attitudes, but then they'll go with women who mimic those same attitudes. I've not only faced this type of situation in relationships, but also in corporate America. When you're a Black woman, you have to really stand on that line, or not being too aggressive and not just being a pushover. And when they have something to say, when non-white women have something to say, they're labeled as being she's
Bitches.
Well, the
independent.
White
answer
women get
is
called a
Hold on, wait,
the
bitch.
she's
answer is
labeled.
you
Hold on,
have
wait,
to
wait,
be
wait.
better.
Time out. She's labeled as being what?
When white women speak their mind, they're labeled as being they
Stop.
you say it, girl. You know what you're talking about. They're being independent. When Black women say what they need to say, this is what I've
Y'all,
experienced
hold
now.
on.
When
Y'all the
Black,
ones that get praised for being all hard
no,
and
but
stern and
this is
and
my
all that. Yeah,
experience. In my
come
experience, when I have
on.
spoken my mind, I get labeled as being aggressive, combative. So it's not so much how, yes, there are Black women who are ghetto,
No
but
other
a lot.
woman speaks her mind, quote unquote, like you all do. When you all
that's
speak your mind, it's filled with curses, insults, disrespect. Other women don't do that, madam.
When
Not
you'd
to
be
the degree that
surprised when
Black
one
women
race
do.
the women get
All right, all
mad,
right,
they
all right.
mimic the
Let me
Black
say this
culture.
before we,
They
Trey,
mimic
before
us.
we say
They
too much.
mimic when they get upset.
Right.
They mimic Black culture. They mimic they'll call you an N-word. So I don't understand how men will say it's how we act when they go for women who act the same way. They're just a different skin tone.
Okay,
It's not
okay.
the same.
That's my
All
that's
right.
my
Let me
Why
say
we?
Wait, I
this.
was gonna say something.
Let me
So
say this.
whenever,
If I can respond right quick, Brenda.
okay,
So the men that you see with overweight white women, are they engineers or doctors?
No.
no,
Actually,
they're
no,
more.
No.
The
Well, it
answer,
this is
the
depends
feedback
answer
that
is
where
we've
no.
had. It seems
See,
like
it's not. It's
majority
not.
of
no,
no.
sometimes
Half the population of
sometimes
black men are not engineers or doctors. So the
no,
answer is
most of high value men tend to date outside their race. That's a
no,
lot
no,
of
no.
That is not true.
I'm saying
That's
fat. Excuse me,
statistically not true.
right quick, Nate. I'm
We
saying
went over that earlier in the show. But,
so
well, it
Francesca, I'm
said
saying fat. Do you see a bunch of black male doctors with a bunch of fat ass white bitches?
No.
So yeah,
I do.
that being the case, why are you worried? What you're doing is you're placing a stereotype that applies to non-doctor engineer black men, and you're saying that the high value or the engineer black men are going after these fat ass white bitches. I can
No,
tell you as an engineer that I've never fucked a fat white bitch, and nor do I plan to.
no, I'm
So
not
so
saying that, but
just to be clear, we measure black women with the same dick that we measure, or excuse me, the same stick, excuse me, that we measure non-black women.
so
It's just that far too few black women measure up, and that's for cultural reasons. You're too damn fat. So
So
all
wow,
right.
because I
Okay.
mean, black
All
men
right.
are they're.
Madam, have you ever asked a black
All
man why he
right.
dates a
All
fat
right.
white
We
woman?
can't.
I mean,
I got to.
black men are overweight as well. So
I'm being all right. I'm being held
all right,
hostage.
I gotta,
so what?
yeah, I
Wait,
gotta say something.
wait. So
Game
what?
changer, hijacked my. Go ahead. One more
No.
second.
You say black men are overweight as well. So what?
for
The
health reasons, they're overweight as well.
I
So
don't
what's
care
the
about
argument?
that.
But it's a different. It's a
36%
different
of black
overweight.
men are
Okay.
clinically
Oh, right
obese.
quick.
56% of black women are
Okay,
clinically
so
obese.
I get that, little big Nate.
Right.
But you see, you're asking for two things versus our one. We say that
Right.
we want a woman who is fit and not fat as hell, and your response is that you want black men to be either an engineer, a doctor, and not be fat. You see, you put in an extra criteria, yes, because you already asked. You say we want engineers, we want doctors, and I say we want women that aren't fat. And you say, oh yeah, but you're fat too. So you added an additional
Well,
criteria.
the
No,
weight. No, I mean, I don't think really.
okay,
That's
put
the
it like this.
discussion I like. I like to have
Put
it.
it like this: engineer, doctor, or fat. Pick one.
I'll pick the engineer.
Okay, well there you go. And the engineer will pick a woman that's not fat. Now,
But
Right. It's because whenever it comes to fitness, it's actually mainly on discipline. Because I was 174, now I'm like 130 and less than that. And the thing is, it's just men are visual creatures. Point blank. Period. They're going to go with the with the woman who actually looks fertile, right?
Like a
The hips
woman.
and everything like that. But if you're overweight, imagine you have a baby and then you're going to get more overweight due to hormones. I'm in the health field. I'm a personal trainer, nutrition coach, because I want women to know, black women to know especially, We are responsible for our body. If the men want to pick us, we have to actually look apart and stand apart. Second, like whenever it comes to corporation submissiveness, like that, all that will stem from us. There is no point blank. They are actually very simple. They're giving us 5 things, 6 things, but we are too busy arguing why. Why do I need to do this? And what about you? But whenever it comes to fitness for men, I can tell you by training men, it has been the easiest thing. I have done it with my dad, trying to explain the same thing to my mom. It just goes over her head. I'm like, Mom, this equals this. My dad is like, all right, that's it. But women, like,
I was daydreaming.
we're in trouble.
I was daydreaming. Did she say training men again?
Yeah.
No, whenever it comes to fitness, like whenever
Oh,
like
you're an actual
working out and stuff
trainer.
like that. Yes, personal
Okay,
trainer, nutrition
okay.
coach.
All
Like
right, I thought you
I do a
you
lot
was
of
about to get
things.
thrown back to the wolves again. We was about to
Right.
To
Now,
the 25-year-old
yeah.
woman,
All right.
if I could just say this real quick, if you, God forbid, were diagnosed with cancer, would you tell the doctor helping you with your cancer, well, white people have cancer, Latino people have cancer, cancer's not that big of a deal? Or would you want the doctor to instruct you on how to possibly survive your bout with cancer? Which would you prefer?
I would choose the latter.
So why do so many Black women argue when your doctors, which are competent, productive, family-oriented Black men, are trying to advise you of how to fix these problems?
As far as weight is concerned, I don't advocate for Black women to just be out of shape.
But man,
All I was
your
arguing.
response was, well, Black men are fat.
Well, that's what I'm gonna
That's
argue
akin
that
to
the same
saying
way
white
how
people have cancer.
Obesity
A bunch
is
of
a
people have
problem in our
cancer.
culture as a whole. We all eating the same things. So to make and
I-
you're still
I-
gonna date women that are out of shape anyway from what you said. So I'm just saying the same way that we have weight problems, Black men have weight problems as well. I'm
No,
not
we
saying that
don't.
that's a
No,
determination
But
of
our
physical
weight
weight.
problems are different from their weight problems.
Just to be
Our
clear, we don't
as
have.
women,
They're
it's really
still
hard.
It's not equal. There's facts,
Yeah,
stats,
It's
data
not
on
equal.
that.
I'm not
It's
Men,
arguing whether
literally
it's the
it's equal. I'm
difference.
it's
saying
literally not the same. It's literally not the same.
Yeah.
so they're not
It's
over.
It's at a higher rate. It's at a higher rate, but I don't feel like
right.
breaking it down too much. We got to get up out of here, man. I'd like to thank everybody. This was an awesome
Hold on,
show.
I'm going live, Bernard. Let me put the link out there.
Oh, you going live? Awesome,
Yeah,
awesome.
I'm gonna follow up on this.
Okay, cool. And one thing that I do want to promote, why Game Changer drops his link, I do want to also drop another link out there. My man Rod of God podcast did something, and I knew that he was doing it, but I didn't really take the time to really watch it. Angry Man shared it, and he basically took the time to make some Black Manosphere Award nominees and all of that. It was amazing. The amount of work he put in. It was one of the best videos I've seen on YouTube, I guess, so far this year. The year's still young. But it was an amazing video. He put a lot of time, work, effort, and energy into that. So I do want y'all to go check that out. I'll be sharing it on my community tab. He definitely put a lot of heart, lot of hard work, heart, blood, sweat, and tears into that thing. It was a great video. So I do highly recommend that. Y'all go check that out. So yeah, check that out. Also go over there. Yeah, salute to Angry Man too. I knew you did that, and I kind of like skimmed it, but I didn't actually. And when I saw he shared it, I was like, oh, let me actually look at this. And I looked at it and I was like, wow, this was actually pretty damn awesome. Pretty damn awesome, man. I gave it a halfway watch when I first saw it, but I sat down and watched it all the way through, man. It was really good, man. The amount of work you put in was amazing. And that do need to be commended. I don't even know how to vote on it, but I'll figure that out. I just know I watched it late last night. But yeah, so y'all go check that out. I'm sharing in my community tab so y'all can see it and have access to it. And once again, thank you, friend Jessica, for coming through with this. We weren't supposed to be on here 4 hours, but you definitely was a trooper. You said a lot of crazy stuff, but you did handle yourself well when we came at you. We came at you. You didn't wild out or get ratchet on us. I thought you was gonna snatch your wig off, start cussing somebody out. But you ain't do none of that.
That's a stereotype, huh?
I know.
Thank you for having me on here and just being respectful and letting me get my point across. And the followers disagree, but maybe we could do this another time. So
Yeah, no, I know. I'm down with it. I'm down with it. We'll figure something out. We'll figure something out. But all right, y'all. I'm like reading the comments. Y'all crazy. But all right, y'all. Go check out Game Changer. Check out Rod of God's video. And with that said, we are out of here.